Alright, welcome back to another live stream. We're actually not in the simulator yet. We are, well, welcome back to Little Nav Map, my little navigation application that I've recently found. K-Sizzle back in the comments. Hope you're enjoying your new iPad, which I'm pretty sure you're watching on. Thanks for tuning in. So, what I'm going to do is taking a little bit of a risk, but the plan is to jump into the A320 in new flight sim and do a flight from Johannesburg to Durban and possibly back again. Now, why is it risky? Because last time I tried this, the plane had a mind of its own, and recently, ever since the VR update in flight sim, my frame rate in the airliners has not been great. So it's a little bit risky because, well, there's a chance it might not work, but let's try. I tested the A320 out earlier, and it was alright. It wasn't fantastic in terms of frame rate and stuff, but they've added loads of features to it, so that's not so much of an issue anymore. It's just I hope it runs okay while I'm streaming at the same time. That's going to be the kind of I don't know. I can't think of a word. Doesn't matter. Let's get into. So what I'm going to show you guys first is getting a flight plan from Little Nav Map, so we can use this to actually generate flight plans and import those into Flight Sim, which is really useful. Obviously, you can use Flight Sim's default kind of route builder, but this gives us a little bit more options, and it gives us a nice graphical kind of overlay of all the different airspaces and navies and things like that. So I'm going to show you how to quickly do that. So the first thing we need to do is plug in our airports, and there's a couple of ways to do this. I know South African airspace pretty well, so I know that Joburg is over there. So we can also, well, we can just right click and say set as departure. So FAOR is our Tambo. That's our departure for today. But if you don't know where the other airport is, you can come up here and search for it. So we're going to FALE, and if we want to just set that as our destination, highlights it nicely with the little yellow circle so we can actually see where it is. I did know where it was on the map, but I'm just demonstrating. If you don't know exactly where it is, you can search it over there. Or also, let's say we were flying from here to Heathrow, and I want to scroll the map all the way up to go find Heathrow. You would just type it in and search for it, and we can say set as destination. Right, now, also if you want to snap to an airport, so let's say I was wanting to go to Heathrow, we'll just demonstrate with Durban quickly. If you just double click here, it'll snap you to that airport, so you don't have to scroll forever to find it. Right, so now we've added our departure and destination airports, and now we actually need to build a route. So the way I like to do this is kind of the same flow, I guess, as the flight itself. So we start off with departure airport, destination airport, and then we're going to enter our departure procedure. So for that, let's go and put in Johannesburg, and we actually have to right click on it here or on the map, and somewhere here it says not this one. You can see I'm still pretty new to this. Okay, now before, when I did this, it said show procedures here somewhere. Maybe we can't click on it there. Let's try do this. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so we don't have procedures for that airport. See, it says no airport selected. Maybe if we select that, it still says no airport selected. I've clicked on it now. Okay, so now I literally did this earlier. Oh, there, see, it says show procedures for, but it's grayed out. So I wonder why. Show departures. Oh, no departure. Ah, that's interesting. Okay, so it's not picking up. Let's make sure we are on flight sim. So it's interesting that we aren't picking up any procedures. Let's see if Durban has show arrival. So we can see arrival procedures. That's very interesting. Okay, that's not too much of an issue. let's set up our arrival then. I wonder why the departure isn't working. Okay, but before we do that, we want to check the wind. So I think there's actually a way to do that over here. Let's go into this one, and we'll just do Durban Kinshasa. Right, so here we have our meta. So wind 190. So we will take runway 24. Yeah, so the easiest way to choose the runway is you take the first two numbers, so 19, and the runway that it's closest to. So 19, is it closer to 24 than 6? Yeah, much the same actually. It's pretty much a crosswind that we're going to be dealing with. But we'll do runway 24 because that's the nice one where we come in over the side. I like runway 24, so we'll do that. Now I hope my math is right, but I think runway 24 will be fine. Okay, we can select an approach for that. Yankee or Zulu doesn't really matter. And what's really cool about this is it actually plots them on the map, so you can see the different approaches. So these are the ILSs. So first we want to put in our RNAV approach. So this guy will work nicely. Now, hey Jason, thanks for tuning in as always. Hope you're doing well. I wonder if it's just not picking up these approaches. Let's switch over to Navigraph for our procedures and see. I reckon that'll fix our issue. Ha! Now we see all of the different stars. So it was just not picking up those, which is weird because those procedures are in Flight Sim. Okay, so what I want to do is, normally we do AppMat when we're coming from Joburg, but if you aren't sure, Dave, yeah, we're flying planes again. We're flying the new Flight Sim, so we're going to have a look at some cool scenery if I can get my route planning working. So what's cool about this is you can actually see the different approaches drawn on the map. So if you aren't sure which one's going to work nicely for you, for example, Dunsa doesn't really make sense. That's if we're coming from Cape Town. We're coming from up here, so we want one of the procedures that starts up this side. So AppMat is the best one. That one obviously goes into runway 6. We want to go into runway 24, so we'll choose AppMat, which means we start up there. And let's right click on that and insert that procedure, so that'll adjust our route. And we also want to do the ILS, so we'll put that one in as well. Now that we've switched over to the Navigraph, let's see. We should be able to show departures. There we go. Okay, so now we can pick a departure from Johannesburg. So we're going to kind of click on them, see which one goes out in the right direction. That's not really heading in the correct direction. Gav is in completely the opposite direction. That's Grasmere. Heidelberg, that's all right, but Standerton is right there, and I know Standerton has arrivals. There's one down this way that'll work nicely, which is definitely not that one. Okay, Ovala works pretty nicely. Apdak will also work. Egnan goes the wrong way. That's out the other side. That goes out to Lanseria. So I think Apdak is probably our best option. So we're going to take off from runway 3 left. We'll do Apdak 1 Bravo. Looks good. Oh, geez. Am I missing another family meeting? Standard. Oh, well, you guys can keep me updated. Right, so let's add that departure. And then we go up here, and one of these buttons says automatically calculate route, which is this guy. It's given us a little pop-up here, which you won't see because it's a separate window. But we can put in our cruise altitude. So we're going east, so we want an odd number. So let's do 35,000 today. Actually, that's quite high. It's a short flight. Let's do 33. It'll be fine, and we can calculate that. And you should see it update our route. There we go. So now we've put in the different waypoints along the way. And we've got all of our waypoints along here, which is exactly what we need. We have a top of climb, 94 miles from departure, and 108 miles we start our descent down into Durban Kinshasa. You always miss the family meeting and get the crib notes from us. That's exactly That's exactly how it works. I'm always streaming when it happens. You guys are there watching both and letting me know what ridiculous things are coming in next. Right, let's now go and export this flight plan. So it gives us presets for all of the different flight sims, which is awesome. We'll export it as a flight sim 2020. And into flight sim files is perfect. Joburg to King Sharka, let's just save that. And then we can actually jump into the sim. And now I can show you how to load that flight plan. So first thing we need to do is pick our aircraft. So we're in the A320. This is the FlybyWire mod. Got the South African Airways livery. And then if you come down here and you say load, you can actually load from any folder. So I'm just going to go find that flight plans folder. This is actually for FSX, the old flight sim, but all my flight plans were already going there, so it's just easy. Let's go and select the one we just created and say open, and it will load that flight plan into the sim, like so. How cool is that? Okay, one thing you must remember to adjust up here, we don't want to start on the runway. We want to start in one of the gates. Now, sometimes this gets a bit weird because it's going to cancel the approach that we've just done. So what you want to do first, because the parkings aren't always labeled the same as they are in real life. So here, this one would be Charlie 1, 2, 3, 4. This is Charlie, yes, that would be Alpha, and on that side, and this is all the cargo and storage, well, not storage, but kind of parking. So these would be Charlie 1, 2, 3. So we like Charlie 3, which is gate 39. So let's go and load that again, because when you mess around with this, it's not perfect. It kind of changes your departure. So you need to know exactly which gate you want to use. So we know that Charlie 3, which is the one I normally depart from, is gate 39. So let's go and find that in here. There's 29, gate 39. Cool. And if you load it from this menu, it doesn't change this departure. If you try and do it on the map, it messes around with the departure. Let's go and set our time. So nice and cloudy down in Durban. So let's do it so that we kind of arrive in Durban in the evening as the sun's kind of setting. That'll be pretty cool. Right, I'm not flying any particular flight. We're just kind of testing out the A320 on this stream. So let's hit and fly and wait for this to load. And while it's loading, you guys can let me know what's happening in the family meeting. Vaccines have arrived, okay. So that's obviously not the 200 million worth of vaccines that the National Defense Force lost because they left the freezers open or the fridges open or whatever ridiculous thing happened. Which stages, who gets what? Okay. Right, I'm going to set up PACX while that's happening. So departure is FAOR and we're going to LE. Our flight number today we will be Springbok. Let's just make up one. Okay, so we can do... Oh, let's use my number that I always use, 1324. Okay, we're cruising today at, what did I say, 33,000. And our flight time down to Durban is about an hour, so we'll put in an hour. Time before takeoff is about 25 minutes. We are flying the Airbus A320, and we'll load up 173 passengers. 173 passengers. Let's make our takeoff time 35 minutes from now, and we'll get those guys boarding. It seems like 12 mil from somewhere and 20 mil from somewhere else. Okay, so here we are at gate Charlie 3. Should hear the passengers start to board. There we go. Okay, let's just look around a little bit so that once it loads all the scenery and we don't stutter when we actually do get going. The frame rate's a little bit lower than I would like, but it's not terrible. It's a lot better than it used to be. I'm a potato because I don't have my checklist. So give me a second. Right, now we have a checklist. We can start going through all of that. I'm not that keen. Oh, sorry, I missed one. And there, the comment feed are like, we are not taking the vaccine. Betty says she's not keen to take the vaccine either. Right, so who is getting vaccines now? You said each stage there's different people. Okay, so we'll turn on the batteries. We'll accept the external power. No. Jenny, or whatever your name is. Both, please don't ATC for me, because you always jump away. Warren, I ate the force rolls with Billy's. I'm sure I'm already immune. Fair enough. Yeah, so it is a little bit stuttery still when we're changing views, but it's not as bad as it was before. What I can do that might help us a little bit is go in here and just turn this down, because in the airliners this destroys frame rates. There we go. That's a lot better. Still not perfect, but it's better than it was. Okay, something they've updated in the A320.
Airbus Sierra X-ray Zulu, acknowledge last transmission.
Okay, let's just go and acknowledge that. Is these. So as we flip these over, system 1 should display on battery, and we wait for that to extinguish. We do system 2, same thing, and system 3.
Airbus Sierra X-ray Zulu readback is correct. Contact ground on 121 decimal.
Okay, the comments are kicking off. I'll have cases as vaccine. Jason, I wonder if we get vaccines because we're in education, to be honest. Medical peeps, old people, and prisoners. Okay. Anyone over 18 as long as you're not pregnant. Warren hasn't been pregnant in years. Surprise, surprise. Or everyone else is over 60s. Right. I'm going to let you guys talk rubbish while I get the Airbus started. Let's put the nav and logo lights on. Okay, actually, what am I doing? Let's go through the checklist. So battery 1 and 2 are on. Recorded ground control. Now in this, I don't think we can actually do that. No, we can't. Fuel pumps should all be off, which they are. Fuel will load up in a second. APU fire test. Does this work? Oh, I don't. Oh, it does work. Nice, let's close that. Okay, so APU fire is tested. Let's go APU master switch on. We'll give that 1, 2, 3 seconds, and then we can start the APU. So we'll let that power up. We'll leave the external power connected so that there's not as much demand on the APU. Right, the next thing I like to do is just sort out the brightness of these screens. ones we can turn up as well. These guys will do on the side. Okay. So we wanted to load up the fuel now. Something new in the A320 is we have an EFB now. How to turn it on. In fact, I saw in some setups they had it on, but there's not much you can do on it yet. And mine doesn't turn on. So I think they might have been on the experimental build. I'm not on the experimental build, I'm on the development build. So I think they're running a newer build than I am, which is fine. It's just kind of been implemented, so there's not a lot we can do with it anyway. So I'm not too stressed about that. So we want to load up our fuel. Now, because I didn't do this plan in SimBrief, I don't have an exact amount, but to get down to Durban, if we do around 35%, it'll be more than enough fuel for us today. Right. The average rate of infections has gone down. Yeah, apparently we've dropped, the daily infections rate has dropped quite a lot, which is good. Sounding like Booze is coming back. Warren's keen. That's the only announcement you're waiting for, Eeyore. Reach the peak of the second wave. Okay. Well, I'm gonna fly my planes. You guys keep watching Uncle Cyril. Okay. Cockpit lights and MCDUs, we've set that. Flat lever should be all the way up, which it is. Speed brake should be retracted. Now that I actually have this working on my POTUS, that's great. That is retracted. Probe and window heat should be on auto, which means the light should be out. If we put it on, it's automatically on. If we leave it on auto, it'll come on as it needs. That's set. APU bleed. Now that the APU is available, we can switch the APU bleed on. We need that to start the engines and to get air into the cabin. Right. Okay, air conditioning panel. All white lights should be off, which they are. We can turn up the temperatures, so we've got a pretty full load. Let's put that on high, and we'll leave those kind of the midpoint. That's alright for now. Let's actually double check temps. So we've got a condition here. So cool, so we're a little bit cool, so let's push these up slightly. See, those temps should come up gradually. It's still a little bit stuttery, which is an issue I've had recently in the new flight sim, but we'll just deal with it. Okay, crossbleed should be on auto. I don't think we can actually change that here anyway. Oh, we can. Okay, well, it is on auto, that's good. Okay, temperatures are set. Generator 1 and 2 fault lights should be illuminated, which they are. External power, we're leaving it on so we can reduce the demand on the GPU. The APU. Okay, electrical panel, all other lights should be off. Check. Ventilation panel, no lights should be on. Check. Alright, we need to convince Salt to do an Among Us stream. It's not happening. Right, moving on swiftly. Ideas are aligning. Strobe light we can set to auto. Nav and logo lights on. Seatbelt signs on. No smoking. Auto emergency lights on. We'll turn on the ground crew oxygen supply as well. Not ground crew, just crew. Okay, landing elevation should be set to auto, which it is. Pack flow as required. We've set that up. Fuel pumps, now that the fuel is loaded, all come on. Engine 1 and 2 fire test. That works. That works too. Restrictions are being eased. Okay, so that sounds good. Right, radio 1 and 2 are both on, which is great. Curfew is 11 to 4. Cool. Right, that means we can come down here. Set this guy up. So, this will already be programmed for us because we created this route and imported it into FlightSim. So we should have app back there from 03 left. That's perfect. Then we need to double check our performance. So flaps, we'll do flaps 2. Flex 55. Definitely put that in the wrong place. That goes there. Then V1 122. That seems quite low. 123. Mind you, we don't have much fuel on board. Beaches and parks are open. Churches are allowed for 50 people and 100 for trees. Cruise is back. No more pineapple here. Right. Okay, so that's programmed in. What was the other thing we needed to check? Performance page 2. Low. That's not what I wanted. This one. Right. So we've loaded all of this. We need to align our IRS, which it already is. That's great. Cost index, we normally do 5 down to Durban. Cruise altitude is 330. Party at Salt's house. Go for it. I'm sure Darren will love that very much. Hey, I can't remember if this updates automatically for us. Let's test out the fuel planning and see what it... Block of 2.6. What have we got at the moment? 6.5. 2.6 seems super low. Let's go with our 6.5 that we've done in any case. So right, that is our MCDU configured for our flight. Okay, altimeter. Oh, now I can show off another feature. Let's go in here. Okay, what I'm going to do is start Pushback Express. Yeah, party at my house, which is Darren's house. I'm sure you'll love it. Okay, let's go here and into the Atsu. The rod is twitching, stop doing that. Okay, let's go into the AOC menu and weather request, and we'll do, no, we do want META for those two. Let's request that. Darren's not invited. Well, you can explain that to him. A bit difficult to get rid of him since he lives there. Okay, so now that we have, we should have received a message with our META. So there we have the META for each airport. So Joburg winds 1303 knots, pretty chilled. Cav okay, temperature 17, QNH 1021. Let's dial that in. So 1021 on both sides. We can put in our cruise altitude 330. Let's turn on these lights, make this easier to see. Turn on the flight director. That all looks good. We'll set constraints as our view. Needs to request via written letter to Warren 2 weeks in advance. Warren even check his mail. Okay, Durban. We are overcast at 3,800 feet, so that's going to be a pretty interesting arrival. A few clouds at 1,900 feet. QNH also 1021. Temperature's a little bit higher. Now, cool thing we can do is we can print this out. Check at that. How cool is that? Now we can print out our weather. And then we can collect that. And it sits over there. So we now have a printout of our weather. So I can go look at other pages now. And our weather printout is there in front of our cross levers, which is awesome. Never been able to do that before. No cables in sight. Oh yeah, that does tilt you quite a lot, doesn't it, Jason? Right, let's take a little outside view. So our jetway is connected, our ground crew is doing ground crew things. So I think with Pushback Express, we should actually see them start. There comes the fuel truck, so it's going to open the fuel window. But I think we actually see them loading the baggage and stuff. So we'll hang around outside here to see if we can watch that, because we are done with our setup. We are just waiting for the passengers to finish boarding. What is that thing sucking the front of your plane? That's the jetway. So that's what you walk down to get onto the plane. Mark says, hi, I'm new. Hi Mark, welcome to the stream. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you will stick around and enjoy our short flight from Johannesburg International down to Durban King Sharko in South Africa. We will be taking off in 15 minutes or so. Warren, you upset Nightbot. What a baddie. First one of the night. Okay, so as the fuel truck arrives there, it'll pop open the fuel window, which we don't need because we've already loaded the fuel that we need. I'm gonna have to teach Kelly how to program in all of these new ways that you come up to mention earlier. Right, so I'm just waiting to see. So the fuel truck will leave now. We didn't actually need to take any fuel. But I think these baggage guys actually start loading up. Or maybe they're already done. Because we are... Oh, jeez, guys. Wow. Third warning you get, man. Mark says, I'm not playing, I'm watching. Well, that's always good. We like people watching the stream. So you are most welcome. Just ignore these clowns in the comments. And hopefully you will enjoy. Alright, so I think maybe the baggage guys are already done. Right, we'll double check on them in a bit. The gate times for Kruger will probably be early again. The normal gate times for... I think it starts somewhere in Feb. It goes to 5 anyway. So, as long as curfew is 5 o'clock or earlier, we'll go out when the gates open. Okay, cool. There goes our baggage, guys. So the baggage thing is opened. So this is a mod called Pushback Express from FS to Crew. And they'll go and load up the bags for us. Curfew ends at 4, yeah. So the gates, when we're there, the gates only open at 5 anyway. So we'll have an extra hour of sleep. Right, so while the baggage is loading up, let's double check that we've done everything else. Jason always shouts at me for looking down, so I'm going to try to hold my checklist up more in front of me. Okay, so altimeter is set, flight directors are on, FCU speed dashed, FCU heading dashed, altitude set to cleared altitude, anti-skid nose wheel is on, switching panel should all be normal, we'll double check that in a bit. Transponder, we always miss that. Mark from Arizona, sure. What time is it there in Arizona? Because it's 8:30 at night here in South Africa. So I'm streaming from Pretoria in South Africa. So you must be, geez, early morning there? Yeah, welcome to the stream. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, there go our bags up into the plane. And they just disappear, but we will... Oh, midday. Oh, that's Dave. We'll let Mark tell us. Trust him more than you, Dave, since he's actually there. Okay, that was very quick loading of the baggage. But hey, Florida was like 6 hours behind. Oh, right, behind, not ahead. Okay, so that makes sense. So then it is probably midday-ish. I was thinking it was ahead for some reason. Right. Let's double check that all our switches are normal, which all 4 of them are. That's fantastic. Transponder, let's go and put in our call sign. Oh, we've already gotten one because we actually spoke to ATC, so that's cool. Also, there are bags on the thing still. That's for another flight, Jason. They're just being efficient, okay? They load enough bags to fill the little bag tractor. That's probably not what it's called, but you know what I mean. Okay, just chill. It'll be okay. Okay, let's put in our noise abatement departure procedure. Wonder if that works in this. So thrust reduction altitude. Oh, so we have to do maths. So 5,550 feet is Johannesburg International. So we want to add 1,500 to that. I'm going to use a calculator because I'm super lazy. So 5550 plus 1,500 is 7050. So we're actually pretty close. 7050. And we want to take 5550 plus 3,000 for, not 33,000. 3,000 for our acceleration altitude, which is 8,550. Nice, that actually works. Awesome. So that is our noise abatement procedure set for our departure. Okay, next. So what are we, about 10 minutes to go. That's how your bags get left behind. They did it to me, landed in the US with no luggage. Oof. And they sent your bags to Brazil. That's amazing. I mean, how long did you obviously you must have got them back, I'm hoping. But how long did you go without any luggage? Right. Transponder is set. Sorry, looking down. Sorry, Jason. Sorry. Okay, next thing we can do is turn on the beacon just when we are about to depart. Mark says you like the stream. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Oh, well, it's a nice lightning flash. When I got back to SA, like 6 weeks. That's mad. We're even looking at, I'm looking at my checklist. So, just because the camera is slightly above my head height, my checklist is on the desk in front of me, but when I look down, because of the angle of the camera, it looks like I'm looking straight down. If I'm actually looking straight down, it looks like that. I don't know why I'm showing you that, but yeah, it's just on the table in front of me. Oh, there we go, Jason, pushing for moderator as usual. But yeah, Mark, if you enjoy the stream, don't be shy to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time I go live and catch future streams. Okay, let's ask our cabin crew how long this is going to take, because we are ready to go. Okay, so just 2 minutes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. That's much appreciated. And look forward to having you for the rest of the stream and for the future stream. Why isn't it digital? Because Kelly has an iPad and I don't. If you would like to donate towards me getting an iPad for digital checklists, I'll put my PayPal. Have school. The stream was cool. I'm a girl. Do you want my number? That's a very interesting comment. My girlfriend is the moderator, so you should be careful. But thank you for tuning in and subscribing. Hopefully we'll see you again on the next stream, and enjoy school if that's possible. You can have my number. Right. Okay, we have 1 minute left to go until our packs are ready. And then we can do the pushback. Now, at the moment with Pushback Express, we still control it using the joystick. But I saw a post, I think it was on their Facebook, where they said we have a feature coming where you can, kind of like we do with Pushback, a better Pushback and X-Plane, where you can plan a specific route and then activate the pushback and it will automatically push you back to that position. So that's going to be pretty cool, because now we kind of have to steer, which is difficult because we start the engines while we're doing pushback. So it'll be cool when you can kind of pre-plan that and let it happen. Right, there, our cabin is ready. So let us turn on the beacon light, which lets the ground crew know that we are ready to go. Why can't I find it? And nothing else needs to be on here. We can disconnect the external power before we push back. That's something I always forget. And let's tell the ground crew that we are ready to go. Cockpit to ground. Obviously, now they never answer me when I'm streaming. I don't know if it's because OBS is taking my microphone. Let's try again. Cockpit to ground. Yeah, I think OBS breaks this. Something to do with the microphone, because it works when I am not streaming.
Audio test complete.
Yeah, so it is working. Ah, okay, I think maybe this might be why. Okay, so let's wait for them to be ready in 40 seconds. Apparently Heineken stopped sales to SA. The illicit booze traders are going out of business again for now. Okay, so booze is back. Okay, 14 seconds, but then we'll see if this works. If they don't answer me this time, then we'll give up. Okay. Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight
There we
deck.
go. We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
You know what? He doesn't sound very South African. Okay, so we'll release the brakes. Brakes released.
Push it back.
Right, so now we can kind of jump outside. There goes our jetway, and we can control our pushback. So while he is connecting the tug, let's go down here, not down there, and let's get our engines starting. So we'll do engine 2 first. Why is he French? I don't know, that's a great question. That is a question I do not have the answer to. Okay, so we'll monitor our engine until we start moving. So we should see N2 rising, which it is, and the temperature and N1 should come up in a bit. Darren, so the 404 stream was a fail. What did you do this time?
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the front of the aircraft for a safety demonstration. When the seatbelt light is on, please make sure that your seatbelt is fastened.
Right, let's go outside and do steering. Oh my word, bus of destiny. That's not the way I wanted to steer. No. My stream, we are here streaming just fine. No issues here. My PC is broken and couldn't get the game to launch. What is happening with your PC? It was fine the other day. It's probably VB, let's be real.
Oh,
Okay, I need to swap around these controls for this pushback because I keep doing it the wrong way.
Although the bag is not way off the visual in the map.
Need a new everything. That sounds expensive.
Required use your mask first and then assist others. Leave your mask on until a member of the crew advises you to leave. In the unlicensed event of water,
We're a little bit skewed, but it's alright.
when instructed to do so, open the plastic mask.
Stop pushback.
Pushback complete. Set
Okay,
parking
so
brakes,
pushback
please.
is complete. Let's set the brakes. Brakes set. And we'll start up engine 1.
Pushback complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Brakes set.
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see you in the left side with a pin.
You are clear to disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks, have a good flight. See you later.
Okay, so he's disconnected. We'll look for the
Thanks,
signal.
have a good flight. See you later.
You already said that. Why do you want me to turn off my engines? Okay, Pushback Express is freaking out. Let's just switch that. Okay, Salt, you need to let Darren know about the party. Don't mention the party. He can't know about the party. Okay, well he knows about it now. So Darren, you need to submit a letter to Warren at least 2 weeks before the party, which hasn't been scheduled because the party's at your house, but you're not invited unless you get written permission from Warren. So just so you know. Okay, let's go and set our engine ignition back to normal. We can turn on predictive wind shear. Well, we'll set it to auto and set this to weather and turbulence. Our weather radar can come on. We will put terrain on that side. That all looks good. That will turn on just before we enter the runway. That's set. That's all set. And now we can do lights. So taxi light. Or nose light to taxi. Runway turn off lights can come on. We can also shut down the APU. We don't need that anymore. Right, let's get cracking. So release the brakes. And we will taxi out to runway 3 left. Doesn't look like bars are allowed, but wine tasting places in the Cape might be. That's interesting. Right, if you just tuned in, welcome to the stream. We are just getting underway on our short flight from Johannesburg International, where it's kind of stormy around Joburg, as you can see the lightning and the clouds out that way. And we're heading into looks kind of stormy out that way as well, but into an overcast kind of late afternoon in Durban. Sounds like a terrible idea. I don't approve. Well, Warren's the one organizing it, so you'll need to chat to him. Are you streaming? Sorry, are you flying the A320neo? Yeah, this is the A320neo. This is the FlybyWire mod. Play your stream over all socials. I don't know how to do that. I don't use the social network. I shared on WhatsApp and Twitter. Those are the ones that work. Facebook is ridiculous. Okay, let's go. Auto brake to max. Arm these spoilers. Flaps. Oh, baddie, we forgot flaps. Flaps to position 2. We'll let the cabin know they must prepare for takeoff. Okay, and we'll test the takeoff config. Right. Let's go through the checklist. So, flaps set for takeoff, pitch trim is set. Then, we need APU master switch is off, anti-ice not required. Nose wheel light set to taxi, parking brake off, elapsed time we can't do in this yet. Brakes are checked. Flight controls are checked. FMA, we should have nav and climb. Let's double check that. Doesn't say climb, but it does say, it says descent. That's good. That's not correct. Okay, but that's fine. Auto brake set to max. Terrain is on. Cabin is ready. Takeoff config is checked, and we have takeoff no blue. Runway turn off lights are on. Landing lights will turn on right now. So those guys should be on, which is perfect. Let's keep on the taxiway. And we'll set this to TARA, our transponder. Alright, let's make our alignment here. Then I think we are good. Nose wheel light to take off, that's also done. Okay, then we'll advance the throttles to 50%. Once it's stabilized, we will go up to flex. And then stick forward below 80 knots. And then we'll follow our V speeds and our takeoff procedure. Let's bring ourselves to a stop. It's like we're heading into the lightning, which is going to be interesting. Right, here we go. So transponder is on. I don't know if we have a working chrono. I can't remember if it works. Let's click on it and see. Hey, look at that, it's working. Okay, so brakes released. Engines up to 50%. Okay, engines are stable. Yeah, let's put it up to flex. Okay, where's the flex detent? There we go. Okay, so we have man, SRS, runway flex, 255, auto brakes max. That all looks good. So V speeds are coming up pretty quickly because we are light today. We don't have a lot of fuel to get down to Durban. So there's V1 and rotate. Okay, positive rate, gear up. We are looking good. Let's go autopilot 1 on. Whoa, okay. There's an interesting issue. It wants to put us into the ground. So we're gonna have to hand fly this for now. Why does it want us to fly so low? Okay, but anyway, we can go flaps up a notch. Okay, there, the autopilot flight director is coming up a little bit. Still wants us to be very low. Oh, it looks like we have an altitude restriction there on that waypoint, which is quite low. Okay, we'll bring the throttles back to climb, which we should have actually done earlier, but I was distracted by the autopilot wanting to kill us. But it seems like it sorted itself out. So I don't know if maybe I did something wrong. We're going to stay at 8,000 feet because I think that's a restriction that we have on the Star. Not the Star, the SID. He wants us to be above 7,500, but I think way down the line there's an altitude restriction for 800 feet. Why do I feel like we are not accelerating? Throttles in idle. Okay, so it's not picking up. There we go. Like I said, still some work that needs to be done on the airline. Okay, EGT, I don't know why that's gone red. It shouldn't have gone up that high. Okay, so thrust is in climb now. I don't know if it was an issue with my throttles or yo, and now we are getting hectic stutter. So welcome to the reason why I don't do airliners in flight sim. I never had any of these performance issues a couple months ago. Passing 10,000 feet, landing lights can come off. Let's go standard on the altimeter. This can also come off. Those can stay on, that's fine. I do want to put these lights on because it's going to get dark as we go. Okay, performance seems to have sorted itself out. We just had a bit of stutters there. Maybe, geez, we are heading into the weather. Oh, you meant to say you have shared it. Oh, nice. Thank you. That's awesome. Jason, I would help, but I'm not a mod. One day, Jason. Just got to know that I can trust you with that kind of power. Okay, checklist. Autopilot is on. Throttle, climb to 10. Don't have the checklist down because Jason gets upset. Now, where was I? Engine mode normal, anti-ice, not required. Altimeter standard set, landing lights off, altitude set to cruise level. Check, 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 and check. Here we go on our way. I don't know why our EGT is in the red. That's very odd. Oh, it's actually not in the red, it's just lining up red. So maybe that's a bug. Obviously this aircraft is still under development. It is huge leaps and bounds ahead of the default A320, so huge props to the guys from FlybyWire for creating this mod. It is way better than the default aircraft, but still a way to go. As surprising as it may seem, programming a fully modeled Airbus is not a quick and easy job. You did print my label, Jason, I will give you that much. But I was thinking, you know, you've been to every stream for like a year, then maybe you qualify. I know it is a miracle. But I gotta tell you the story, because I asked Jason for like a month to print me a label, and he said he couldn't do it because the label maker, someone had lost the charger. And then he comes back after over a month and goes, oh, by the way, I printed your label because the label maker actually takes batteries. Which means you didn't even check. You just made up a story about the charger being lost and it not working. It runs on batteries. But anyway, I'm very happy with my label, and wow, we are going into the red. Sure. I'm hoping that we should make it over that. As you can see closer to us, it's alright. Obviously the radar scans out in a cone. You trusted your fellow interns. Yeah, see, there's your first mistake. Never trust an intern. We're not gonna die, it's just gonna get a little bit bumpy. But I think we're gonna make it over it, hopefully. I would still be looking for the charger. I don't know if the charger even exists because it runs on batteries. I will admit though, Jason, you made more of an effort than, jeez, I can't even speak, than Darren did, because Darren also has a label printer, and I was like, can you print me a label because Jason's useless? And he was just like, nah, I don't have paper. So I'm like, are you gonna get some paper? And he was just like, no. That was the end of that story. Did I tell you where the charger? Oh yes, you did tell me where you found the charger. Right. You're looking for the charger that doesn't exist. You'll never have to do the work. Spoken like a true intern, Dave. You've obviously embraced the intern way. It does have a charger. It has its own battery and can also run on AA batteries. Okay. By the way, Jason, I lowered the stream latency, so I should be responding to your questions faster than normal. I did that just for you. Right, we are powering our way out of Johannesburg. Oh, and as always, we've picked up a ridiculous amount of ice because the icing model is still broken in this game. Let's just turn on the anti-ice, otherwise we will fall out of the sky. It's a huge change. Okay, that's good. I did remember to do that. So I realized mine wasn't actually on the medium setting, it was on the slowest setting, which I definitely didn't choose. So at some point YouTube just decided, you know what, let's just make this worse. So that's why it was so bad on the last stream, because it was on the slowest possible setting for some reason. And Darren says, never owned a labeler. That's a lie, because I printed my label last time with your labeler. Explains why Jason is not shouting this time. Yep, because I'm responding nice and quickly. Isn't Darren streaming? No, his stream broke because his computer's a piece of junk or something like that. I wouldn't blame Kelly if I were you, Dave. You'll get banned. Right. Microsoft Lightning Simulator. Because we're getting lightning flashes right in front of us when we're not actually in the clouds. Okay, that's down there. That's acceptable. I'll take that one. But the icing is... I don't know. You don't get icing this crazy on the fuselage. It's a bit overboard. So... I was saying before that I had issues with the aircraft, or particularly the airliners falling out of the sky, and I have realized that it's because of the ice. So we shouldn't have ice up here. What's our temperature? So outside we're plus 14 degrees and we're picking up ice. Sounds legit. Oh, okay, you fixed it. Oh, so are you streaming now for the 404? But yeah, so we shouldn't really be picking up ice, but we are picking up a lot of ice. So if you don't turn on the anti-ice, I found that that's what makes you just randomly flip over onto your back and then fall out of the sky with nothing that you can do to stop it. I found that out at the end of a 4-hour flight. So I should have stopped the chrono a long time ago. I wonder if the chrono's not working, have they updated these? No, I can't. I still can't run that. I can put the chrono on there. That's not what I want. I want this elapsed time over here. Stop. Reset. Right. Hopefully you guys are all enjoying the stream and you had a great Monday. Thank you for choosing to spend your Monday evening watching me fly virtual planes. If you are enjoying the stream and you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so that you can catch future streams. I try to do this as often as possible. The more support I get, the more often or the more time I can put into doing this. So every subscribe, every like helps more than you know. So please, if you haven't already, consider doing that. Let's put some lights on here. So we are flying into the late afternoon and the storms are below us. So the purple, we definitely want to stay out of. That's the turbulence. Looks like we might just clip that little area, so I think I might just take us through those, or through that little gap there. But I will admit, Microsoft Scenery Simulator does look amazing. Now with all the interesting weather that we're having in South Africa, the clouds do look really cool. It's quite often you do this flight and there's no clouds at all. See, that landing was above the clouds. That's a bit weird. Fly right into the purple. What's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is we flip over and we all die and I'll never hear the end of it, especially from Jason. It looks like we're just missing the purple, so I think we should be okay on our route anyway. It's just this section here that has the turbulence. We'll keep an eye on that as we go. But just because we're coming up to that, I'm going to leave the seatbelt signs on. In any case, Dave, I think that that's below us. So if you have a look here, right close to the aircraft, there's nothing on the weather radar, so it'll be in the clouds, so it's going to be below us. So even though we're going over that bit, we're going to be fine, because what happens is the radar in the nose of the aircraft, there's a little radar dish, and it obviously scans the weather, but it scans out in a cone, so we're picking that up way in front of us because the radar beam's actually going down like that. If you look right in front of the aircraft, we don't pick up any weather because we're above the clouds. So even though we are going to fly through that purple bit, I don't think it's actually going to affect us because it's down below. So we'll see as we get closer. It should be clear around us like that. Then we'll know that we're not actually going to fly into it. It's still, the frame rate dips a little bit every time I change the views, which I've never used to, which is a bit frustrating. Yeah, I think we're going to be okay in terms of turbulence. Right, so the plane is telling us, if you look here, it's saying you've got the anti-ice on, but there's no ice detected. But we still have ice on our airframe, so I'm just going to leave that on. Look at that cool sunset. Okay, it's what we're going to do now. Let's go and update our weather. So we'll go back into the Atsu and we'll do another weather request. Because we're expecting, if we look at our previous METAR that we got earlier on just before we departed, overcast in Durban, so overcast at 3,800 feet. So we're going to have a nice low vis landing. These creatures could not land on my screen, so I can see what's going on. Okay, we should have got that METAR, so this is the new one. Okay, so still, what time was this taken? So it's still the same one, it hasn't updated. So we don't need to print that out because it's the exact same one. So this is the date and the time. So 01, which is today, 1st of Feb, and it was updated at 1800. So Johannesburg's been updated because that updated again at 1830. So anything changed there? Not much. Winds up a single knot, and QNH is up to 1022, but Durban has not yet updated, so we'll do that again just now. Otherwise, everything looks good. We are cruising along nicely. But yeah, we're above that turbulence. It's down below us. So let's go and take the seatbelt signs off so everyone can run around and go mad. How cool does that look though? So one thing that's cool about new flight sim is the clouds actually, you know, block out the sun or occlude the sun, I guess. Which means with all these clouds and the sun already setting, if we had no clouds, we'd probably have a little bit of sunlight left when we arrived in Durban. But if it's overcast like this, it's going to be pretty dark coming into Durban. So that'll be interesting. Now, the next thing we need to do is plan our descent. So that is telling us we should be starting our descent fairly soon, which feels a little bit early. Let's go into flight plan. So we have a distance of 187 miles to go. Let's just zoom out. That does seem a bit extreme to start descending now. Let's do a bit of a calculation. So with the Airbus, we want to, well, with most aircraft actually, we want to do 3 degrees. So a very simple calculation that we can do is take 33, because we're cruising at 33,000 feet, and times that by 3. That gives us 99. And then we add another 10 miles onto that, so that gives us time to descend. So 109. So we want to actually start our descent when this distance is 109. However, Oh, it is updating. Okay, perfect. So we'll wait. So this is fairly early. We'll wait until that says around 109, 110. And he says I must check my phone. That's awesome. What am I looking at? That looks really cool though. I feel like I might be missing the point. What was I gonna say? Oh, they want us to... Oh, the iPad. Yeah, it looks awesome. It's so much easier now for you to watch on that. Okay, so they want us to enter the destination information. Before we can do that... Oh, okay, yeah, no, that looks really cool. Nice and easy to be on there. Okay, let's go back and let's see. Hopefully Durban's weather has been updated. So let's do another request. Can you fly the ATR 500? The short answer is no, because unfortunately we don't have an ATR 500 in the sim yet. I would love an ATR. I doubt if they did make one, if they made the 500, it'd probably be the 600. But I would be super keen to fly an ATR. So when an ATR comes to the sim, we can most definitely do that. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. So yeah, at the moment for Flight Sim, there aren't a whole lot of extra planes. We are all very eagerly awaiting the CRJ, which is coming soon from Aerosoft. It was supposed to release before Christmas, but they had to delay it slightly, so it should be coming probably in Feb. And the moment that hits the Aerosoft store, I'm going to pick that up, and we are going to be flying the CRJ. Dave says the Concorde you flew was cool. Yeah, I love the Concorde. So what I'm trying to do is just work my way up the ranks in British Airways Virtual, so that I can qualify as a senior captain, so that I can fly the Concorde for the virtual airline. And then we're going to do loads of Concorde stuff. Right, can't remember if I actually requested the weather, because I was chatting, so that's not what I wanted to do. Let's go back here and see our low. You're broken. Yeah, Atsu, there we go. Let's see, receive messages. Let's pick up the new meta. Okay, so Durban still hasn't updated, so we're going to plan with this information. So QNH 1012, temperature 22 degrees, and winds 130. Oh, 170 at 10. We'll program in 10 knots. It's fairly significant wind. So let's go here. So let's see if I can remember all of that. QNH 1021. I'm actually a massive idiot because it's all right there. I don't have to remember it. Right, temperature 22. And we said 170 at 10. And our transition altitude, we normally do 8,000. And decision height will be 200 feet. And mind you, ceilings are 3,800, so we should be fine. Approach speed is 124. Go back to flight plan, we should be getting pretty close to our descent, which we will do at 110 nautical miles to go. But yeah, Dave, love the Concorde. The only problem with Concorde is it's in X-Plane, and no one ever watches when I fly X-Plane, except for you guys who are always here watching. But with the X-Plane streams, we never really pick up any new viewers, which is a bit of an issue. Obviously, the hype around new Flight Sim is still really big. So when we do streams like this, get a lot more people tuning in to watch, which is a pity because in terms of the flight model, I still think X-Plane is ahead of Flight Sim. In terms of visuals, Flight Sim just hands down beats everything. Okay, otherwise all is looking good. Turn a bit of lights on. We'll probably turn off before we descend anyway, because this gets a bit distracting. Down low, close to the ground. Right. Keep an eye on that distance. 136, so we're getting pretty close to our descent. So that's one thing, the descent calculation in this aircraft isn't 100% accurate yet, as far as I have found. Disclaimer, as always, I'm not a real-world pilot at all. I have just been simming for many, many years, and I've picked up all of this information that I'm sharing with you just by flying a lot of virtual aircraft. Yeah, let's have a look at what restrictions we have. So, LE003 at 7,900, 4 at 6,500. Interesting that our decel speed, our decel point has a flight level 330. That shouldn't be. Okay, so ooh, we don't want to go there. Let's hope this doesn't break everything. Okay, so that's one thing. We can't really edit our flight plan. That doesn't seem to work yet. So we don't want to go to TGV. So that is the VOR over the airport. I thought they'd added the ability to actually edit flight plans like this, but obviously not. So we're not going to go to TGV because that's going to screw up our whole thing. That's actually over the airport. We'll break away and do our own kind of manual approach to line up with the runway. So we're coming up to our descent point at 110. And we will go down into the soup as it starts to get dark as well, which is going to be pretty cool. So the night lighting in the sim is good. So you'll see all the lights. One thing that they tell you on the charts actually to be aware of is the toll gate just before the runway, because it often gets mistaken for the runway lights. So that's something we can look out for. Adjusting the brightnesses here. Let's go back in and very quickly before we start our descent, let's just double check that our weather hasn't been updated. Let's go back. We should have another one. Yeah, it's still the same weather, so we don't have anything more recent on that one. Right, we're at 113. Let's go in and dial this down. Go down to 3,000 feet to intercept the ILS, and we'll tell the aircraft to descend. So there's two different descent modes in the Airbus. If you push the switch down, which is interesting, I've always thought this is backwards, because up, I would imagine you pulling the switch out. But I believe in the actual aircraft, if you push the switch down, we have what's called managed descent. So the aircraft will descend, but it will obey any altitude restrictions on our route. If you pull it out, we do what they call open descent, where it just descends at idle thrust and it will ignore any of the restrictions. So I want to obey the restrictions on the arrival that we've programmed in, so we're doing a managed descent. Darren says, need you to test my graphics card. We'll put it in your PC. Yeah, that's cool, we can do that, no stress. You can do that. But yeah, that's fine. Is it freaking out again? But did you eventually get the game running? I'm guessing, because you said you were streaming. But obviously it is not happy. Right, so looking at the weather. Actually, before we mess around with weather, let's sort out heavily freaking out. Okay, that's not good. Right, add that bottle to my little collection. Jason says he'll test it for you. There we go. Jason's an intern, so he might eat it. Okay, so arrivals are set up, performance is set up, We are descending, speed brake as required. Altimeter, we'll set the QNH when we pass the transition. Landing lights on below 10,000 feet. ND set to constraint. I'm trying to hear. Oh, hectic. It's raining outside for real now. Thought I could hear it raining. Right. Then we also need auto brake, so we'll do medium. Actually, we can probably do low, it should be alright. Nah, let's play it on the safe side. I haven't landed this aircraft before. Callum says, hey SaltGrater, sorry I'm late. No worries. You are here, and that's all that matters. Thank you for tuning in as always, Callum. Always appreciated. We are in Flight Sim 2020, and we are, well, we've just started our descent towards a very cloudy and I believe raining Durban. So we'll be landing in a few minutes. Right, so spoilers we can arm. We can do that now, that's fine. So that's ready. I'm going to turn these lights off. It's going to knock out those lights. These ones, because that's going to annoy me. That's nice, easier to read the displays. Okay, flaps we'll set on procedure. Otherwise, all is good for now. The next thing I don't know the answer to is, I think... That's not what you say to me when I'm late. Yeah, but Jason... Callum's tuning in from another country, so... give him a bit of leeway. But I do appreciate you being here, Jason. I hope you know that. Right. Okay, that's all we have to do for now. So the next thing is landing lights at 10,000 feet. Let's keep working out our descent. So if we take 2 and times it by 3, we get 66 miles. So we should have about 66 miles to go, plus 10, 76. So we're relatively close. So I'm happy with our descent profile. So our restrictions there is above 7,900 feet, above 6.5. We should have speed restrictions on these, which we actually don't. If I remember correctly from the chart, which we probably should have looked at, but I didn't actually do that. At LE3 we go down to 210 knots. So we'll do that manually. We love you, Jason. Please don't be upset. Right. It's definitely going to be completely dark under the clouds now. Like I said, we might have had a little bit of sunlight left if it weren't overcast. It wasn't overcast? It weren't. One of those. But yeah, it's going to be really dark down there, so proper night landing. Okay, coming up to 18,000 feet. Right, there's no icing detected, so I think we can take off the anti-ice now. It's not really required. Oh, we have a company message. Oh, that's just that weather that I didn't read. Just this one. Let's do this check again. Make sure that we don't have any updated weather. Give it another second to come through. Come on. There we go. Aha, we have a new METAR. So it's raining in Durban. Overcast 3,800, so the cloud base is 100 feet lower. Temperature 19, QNH 1023, and we are hitting bumps. Let's turn on this seatbelt sign. We are fully in the clouds now. 15,000 feet, which is where we turn on the seatbelt signs anyway. So, raining, still 190 at 11 knots. Let's go and update this. So we'll print this guy out. And to do that, turn the dome lights on so we can actually read that. But we'll go in here into our perf page, and not that one. We'll just update this. So let's grab that sheet. This is really cool. I know it seems super simple printing out a piece of paper, but it's really helpful. So 1023 is our new QNH. Put that in. Our new temperature is 19. Wind is 19190 now at 11. Okay, so we've updated that, and it is raining. Is RNAV working? That's a great question. I hope so. That's not what I wanted. I believe it is to an extent. That's kind of what we're testing out on the stream. I haven't flown the Airbus in flight sim for quite a while, so we are seeing what's working and what isn't. It seems to be okay at the moment. It's following the descent profile, so I would say, from what I understood, it should be working, and it seems to be okay so far. Let's turn on the landing lights as we come through 10,000 feet. Okay, there's the first thing that the plane has missed, is we shouldn't exceed 250 knots above, below 10,000 feet, so that's kind of bad. And we're going to slow down to 210 on our approach here. So I think the RNAV is working, but yeah, we're testing it out. Yeah, let's see, has it put in the ILS? Not yet, by the looks of things. Oh no, it does have it there, 109.17. So our ILS should hopefully work. If it doesn't, we're going to have some issues. So the landing lights actually illuminating the clouds, which is really cool. It's not something you see out of default sims very often. Right, we are now down to our 110 knots, so let's go one stage of flaps. This is the first sim, because of the visuals, where I actually start to get disorientated in the clouds like this, because like I keep seeing these reflections, which are actually reflections on the windscreen from our instruments. Well, it would actually be this panel down here, and if you see, if you do that, seeing these panels down here, but it kind of looks like city lights in the distance, but at an angle, so it keeps feeling like the aircraft is tilting to the right, like we're in a very hard turn. Okay, let's go and set this guy, so we're 1023. And let's turn on our landing system so we can see the localizer and the ILS when we pick those up. It should hopefully be fairly soon. But yeah, in the other sims, I never really had an issue with flying IFR. This one, visuals are convincing, so it makes you feel, especially with that, kind of leaning to the side. Okay, so here's our first test, kind of with the RNAV. So we are actually leveling off to obey that 6,500 altitude restriction, so that's great. It's listening to the altitude restrictions. We are being thrown around. Right, we are picking up the ILS now, so our localizer is alive. I don't know why the lights are flickering like that so much. It's interesting. Okay, so let's see, we passed that point now, and we're going to descend, and it's got the next constraint there, 4,650. So that part does seem to be working at least, which is good. The descent and following those points was one of the biggest issues with the airliners in the beginning. So FlybyWire definitely seem to have that working at the moment, which is great news. Why did our lights just disappear? Are we breaking through the clouds? They switch off. They are all still on. We'll turn on the wing lights as well, just to make us a little more visible. Okay, I don't know why the lights just disappeared, but hey. Oh, there we go, they're back. Maybe just a gap in the cloud. Oh, probably that was a gap in the clouds, but we had another layer of clouds below us, which we've now gone into. Loving the night flight. Night flying on the streams, I don't know, I try to avoid it most of the time, because with the YouTube compression, sometimes the dark is just really dark and you kind of see nothing. But so if you're enjoying it, that's great. I can do more of that kind of thing, because it is really cool. Makes it interesting. Okay, so our procedure is kind of messed up because I can't edit any of these points in the FMC. That's okay, because we're going to take manual control in a moment. Still keep feeling like I'm leaning to the right. It's so creepy. Maybe without weather though. We're just above the weather layer, so the overcast layer is at 3,800 feet. So as we're coming into the approach, this is live weather, so I always fly with live weather. I think it makes it more realistic. So this is what it looks like in Durban currently. But yeah, I understand you want to see the lights of the city and stuff, but we'll see that as we come in on the approach and we break through that 3,800 foot cloud layer. We're at 4,650, so about 1,000 feet to go, and we'll break through the clouds. Okay, localizer is alive. And I do actually want to engage our approach. Now let's hope that it doesn't just freak out. Okay, we are picking up the localizer. We should make a fairly gradual turn to the right. That feels a little bit extreme, but we'll keep an eye on it. Unless it starts rolling out soon, which it is. Right, I think we're okay on the localizer. Let's bring ourselves down to 180 knots. We'll get ourselves configured nice and early. Makes sense since it is nighttime. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, I think we are intercepting the localizer all right. That should start coming in now. Okay, cool. Flaps 2. Okay, glide slope is now alive. This is looking good. None of this worked before, so it looks promising. We're still at 4,000 feet. Do we have a radio? Not yet. Yeah, just because of the visibility, I'm going to get us configured nice and early. So let's go gear down. I don't know why that always automatically engages the parking brake, but we'll just get rid of that. Okay, so 180 knots normally until 10 DME. There's, now that our nose gear is down, we have that nose gear light. Do we have a DME? Yes, we do. So we're at 16. So 180 knots until 10 DME, and then we'll go down to our approach speed, which was 124. So we add 5, 129. Okay, there we see, there's the new highway starting to come into view. So we'll see some of the lights now as we're breaking through that cloud layer. To open descent, so we can ignore that 3,300 foot restriction over there. We'll go down to 3,000 feet, which is where we will intercept the localizer. So there's the highway. So some of the city lights out there through the Fog. Oh, this illusion here is just freaking me out. I keep feeling like I'm leaning. Maybe I'm just weird. Okay, we're at 13 DME, so once we hit 10, we'll go down to 100. Well, call 130. It's close enough. A little bit worried that we haven't picked up the glide slope yet. Mind you, we're still 12 miles out. Hopefully we pick that should start coming down soon. The airport is the airport's there. So I thought we would be picking that up by now. There's 11 miles. Kind of stressful in the low visibility. There we go. My slope is coming now. That's fantastic. We're at 10 miles. Let's start now slowing down to our approach speed so we can intercept the glide slope. And we'll do the flaps. And go flaps 3. There we go, Jason. Now, as we start descending on the glide slope, so we'll catch that in a bit. Flaps full. Alright, so we are now flaps full. Get down 3 green. We are fully configured for our landing. Missed approach altitude is set. Should probably actually go through the actual checklist. As we intercept this glide slope, we'll come further down through the clouds, and you'll see more of the of Durban at night. Okay, so landing lights. Where am I? So flaps full. Ecam, landing no green. Auto throttle. Auto throttle. Speed. Where was I now? Auto brakes set to medium. Okay, there we've captured the glide slope, so we'll start descending. Nose wheel light set. It should actually be on taxi, not on takeoff. And these guys should come on as well. Okay, runway lights. Do we see runway lights? That is a big building. I don't see any runway lights. That is interesting. What if it doesn't have lights? You're diverting. There's no runway lights. It should be there somewhere. There. I think that's the runway there. That looks like the runway. Yeah, there's the runway. No lights. Awkward. I might have to buy the scenery for Durban International. There's one sale that will fix issues like that. Maybe I will do that. Okay, landing no green, auto throttle, speed, nose wheel, taxi, runway tone of lights on, landing lights on, landing gear, 3 green, flaps full. Right, we are ready. YOLO, yeah, this is gonna be a YOLO. I don't know where to put this now. Just go. Right, here we go, I guess. Let's get ourselves ready. I can see the runway. That Durban scenery is amazing. Are you talking about the one I said I should buy, or just looking at default Durban here in Flight Sim? Because obviously the scenery in Flight Sim is incredible. I don't know why the runway has no lights, but maybe I'll pick up the Hayway scenery for Durban King Sharker. It's not very expensive, and that'll fix issues like that. Because actually, now that I think about it, the one you want to buy, okay, cool, that's great that you say it's good. Then I'll definitely consider doing that. Because now that I remember, the default Durban airport is not good at all. But if you're saying that scenery is great, that's awesome. I think I shall do that. Right, so here's the highway. So, I wonder if it's in here, but it's over there. That's the toll gate. So you can see where the road gets a little bit wider, and the tolls here in South Africa have those nice purple lights. Wonder if Durban's tolls have purple lights as well. Now that I say that, I don't actually know if they have that everywhere. In Joburg they do. Durban maybe not, but it often gets mistaken for the threshold of the runway. So even the charts have a warning about that. It's very easy to mistake that as the threshold of the runway when the actual runway has no lights in the sim.
1,000.
Okay, we're at 1,000 feet. And it is windy. Right, 500 feet, so let's take control. So I have control, and now if I mess up, it's all my fault.
500.
There we go, so we're a little bit low on the glide slope. Luckily I can see the runway. There's the toll gate. Now we're a bit high. We do have that 11 knot wind, which is not insignificant.
100 above. 300.
It is fairly bumpy. I don't think you can actually, you can't see my joystick on the camera, but I'm doing a lot of work.
Minimum.
Okay, minimums continue. Runway in sight. Oh, keep it straight.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. Retard.
Okay, this aircraft floats a lot. And we are down. Let's go reverse. Okay, we'll come out of reverse. Not the best landing. I still find the rudder very, very twitchy in flight sim. So, oh, nice. 11 knot crosswind isn't helping very much. But we are safely on the ground. I don't know if it's completely accurate, but it really does float a lot, this aircraft. But in all fairness, that's probably my bad technique. It's not the view I was looking for. That's okay, so we're off the runway. As you can see, the buildings up ahead, the runway terminal doesn't look particularly realistic. So let's go flaps up. We'll retract the spoilers. We can turn off our landing lights. Runway turn off lights and spoilers, not spoilers, and taxi lights can stay on. We need to turn off terrain radar and weather radar. This fiddly little switch here. Yeah, that's just impossible. Let's slow down. So what I'm actually going to do is shut down one of the engines. So we'll do a single engine taxi. There we go, managed to get that switch. We can put a bit of floodlights on to make it easier to see things while we're on the ground. We will come in this way. So the idle thrust on these engines is actually quite high, so you accelerate even with the engines at idle. So a single engine taxi is actually a fairly normal thing. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Start up the APU. I don't know where I just turned now because I was doing other things. No, we are good. So now we can give it a bit of thrust because we only have one engine running. Don't see any rain. I'd say it was raining here in Durban, but no rain at the moment. The other thing we can do is turn off the transponder. So let's find a gate that doesn't have a plane in it. So this one here looks good. No vans. Just let that van go past. Let us to the gate. Hopefully there's no more vans. Looks clear. Okay, what we should do in reality, actually we're not going to. So in reality we would turn off the taxi lights and runway turn off lights so that we don't blind anyone in the terminal or the ground crew down here, but there's no apron lights in the default scenery, so if we do that we cannot see anything. So I'm going to leave them on. We'll engage the parking brake. Now that we've parked we don't really need to see outside, so let's turn all of these off. Okay, that's fine. Almost panicked because we have a generator 2 fault, but that's because I shut down that engine. So the APU is running. Let's just turn on the APU bleed and we'll shut down engine 1. Alright. And then the game's going to want to quit. It's fine, we will carry on. So, welcome to Durban King Sharker. In our South African Airways A320. There we are. Jeez, nice and close. Durban definitely doesn't have these little bits extending like this in reality. Yeah, I think that scenery is going to be a good idea. What we can do now is turn off the seatbelt signs so that everyone can disembark. And we can also turn off the nav beacon lights. Right. I have a new GPU. Why? Now you're on a different computer because you're commenting as the audio room. Why? Did you put your graphics card in my computer and it works fine, but it doesn't in your computer, so now you're giving it to me? Thanks, that's very nice. The real question is, how do you guys feel about making the trip back to Joburg? Or we could go somewhere else. But I'm feeling like I have another flight in me for this evening. So we could go back to Joburg, we could go... Cape Town's a bit far, that's like a 2.5 hour flight. So somewhere like maybe East London or PE. You guys are down. Let's go look at my new favorite software. It's OBS. Oh, OBS is my new favorite software. Sky. Not East London, it's Sky. Okay. Let's do this. So we are currently over here in Durban. We could go back to Joburg up there. I kind of like East London. It's pretty chilled. PE is an option. Cape Town's far. Bloemfontein's also an option, I suppose. Go back to Joburg so you can come fault find with me. Okay, so we're definitely going to East London. What else is interesting? Maputo is kind of cool. That's a very short flight. I'm feeling East London, even though Jason says he doesn't want it. Maybe we'll do PE then. It's not as bad as East London, is it? What else? I guess Bloemfontein's an option. Let's look. Bloemfontein's weather. We don't have all the information because they don't have their own weather station. What's East London's weather like? pretty chilled. It's VFR conditions. EE, completely VFR, no issues with weather. Bloemfontein also says VFR. Joburg, I think, has a whole bunch of storms happening right now. I can't click on that because it's wanting to edit my route, so let's just move that out the way. Joburg, IFR, broken at 700 feet. Sure, that's low. Maybe we'll just go back to Joburg. Because I'm thinking these airports down here, if Durban doesn't have lights, I don't think any of these will. So maybe we'll go up to Joburg because that does have lights if I remember correctly. So maybe we'll stay at the time we're at now. I'm gonna have to actually end the flight to re-import our new flight plan. I think we'll go back to Joburg. That sounds like buy a 3080 business expense. I mean, the audio room is commenting. You let them know. That sounds like a good plan to me. Although flight sim is actually mostly limited by the CPU. So everyone who bought 3080s is like, I'm not getting that amazing performance because it's mostly bound to the CPU. Okay, let's end our flight here. In FS, not FS, in PACX. Right, and then we can come here and just end this back to the main menu. I know you guys are just looking at the map, but we're going to set up our next flight. So let's clear all of this. Okay, so we're going to go from Durban. And we're going to go here into Joburg. This one. Okay, so let's see these procedures for departure. The birthday is also coming up. Yeah, you can buy me a 3080 for my birthday. What do they cost now? Like 20 grand? 30 grand? Right, so normally we do Greytown, which is that one. But we want to do from runway 24, so that's that guy there. So we'll add Greytown to Bravo. And arrival procedures into Joburg. I don't know why I said that so strangely. Arrival procedures. So we'll probably do Standerton arrival into 3 left. No, 3 right is the arrival. Witbank is too far. Standerton 1 Charlie looks terrible. 1 Delta. Oh, that's going into 2-1. Let's double check the wind at Joburg. Hello? Can I please? Please, I just want to click on the airport. Thank you. No, that's not what I wanted. Just the airport. Please. I just want to know the weather. I'm going to have to move this waypoint now. Okay, winds 070. Okay, so we are doing runway 3. Let's go and set this back as destination. Get rid of this random waypoint that I made. Cool. So we don't want Standerton. We want this one. That looks good. Cool. Let's add that in. So we'll right click and insert that guy. And we're going to 03 right. I'm taking you to Kruger for your birthday. Hectic. Okay. So that's my birthday present, the one that I'm paying for. What was I trying to do now? So rudely interrupted with dreams of a 3080. There we go, 3 right. Let's add that guy in. Cool, and we are ready to go. Let's generate this flight plan. Export that guy, King Shark to Durban. That's perfect. And now we can load this up. So, King Sharker to... Did I say King Sharker to Durban? 21k, about to get one. Well, you do that. And then you can donate me... Well, no, I don't know if I want your graphic card, 'cause it sounds like it's broken. Okay, remember to change this. I didn't check before, but any of these medium gates will be fine. We'll do it at night because you guys seem to like that. Well, it's something different. We haven't flown at night before. And we shall make our way back to 21k for a graphics card like that. It's actually not that bad. Also, Darren, that invoice that I sent you today is not just for you to have a record of all the episode numbers that we've done. You do actually have to pay me that money. So don't forget to do that so that I can have nice things too. Right, because we are flying at night, we have our headlamp on, which is kind of cool. So one thing I have learned though is because without the headlamp, as soon as you turn the batteries on, the headlamp turns off. So let's turn all these panel lights on before we turn the batteries on, so that when the headlamp turns off, you can actually see what the hell is going on. It will give us a bit of a dome light as well. Then we'll turn the batteries on. See? It's almost like I've done this before. Take the external power. You can turn on the nav lights. Okay. And now we will get ready to go back to Joburg. Hope you guys are excited. Thank you to everyone again for tuning in, it's not Monday evening anymore, it's now Monday night. But spending it watching me fly the FlybyWire A320NX. Wrong page of the checklist. There are only 2 pages and I still get that wrong every time. Okay, battery 1 and 2 on. Ground recorder not modeled. External power is on. Fuel pumps all off. APU fire test. Tested. APU master switch on. 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, start. You enjoyed the Razer keyboard I sold you? I hated that thing. It was great for a few months, and then it did all sorts of weird things and typed on its own. So, yeah. However, my PC there that it sounds like you're tearing apart has your 980 in it, and that still works great, so that one worked. That damn Black Widow keyboard freaked out super hard. I also have to be paid by the people to pay you. That sounds like a you problem. Also, you should have invoiced them like 2 months ago, because they paid me for the other stuff. Anyway. Okay, APU has started. We'll turn on the APU bleed. Flap lever should be all the way up, and it is. Spoilers up. Or actually down. Lever up, but flaps themselves are down. Probe and window heat auto. It is. APU bleed on. Air conditioning panel all white off. Cross bleed auto. Generator 1 and 2 fault lights, they are illuminated. External power is on. Electrical panel, no other lights illuminated. That is checked. Ventilation panel, all lights off. Armand, good evening. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the stream and you hang around with us for a bit. We are on our way from Durban back to Johannesburg. Right, where was I? Addons, let's go. Addons 1 on bat. We'll wait for that to extinguish and we'll do 2 like so. If you're on Facebook, you are welcome to join the South African Flight Simmers page. if you are not already. I am on Facebook. I'm just very bad at using it. But sure, I'll definitely check that out. So, South African flight simmers. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for letting me know. I'll check that out. Okay, let's put on Addons number 3. And let that power up. Right. We'll let that align. Then, strobe lights can come on to auto. Nav lights are already on, that's perfect. Seatbelts, we'll do all of these. No smoking, which is actually no portable devices now. On the emergency lights. I can paste the link here if I may. I think YouTube might get angry with you for pasting links. Hang on. Let me turn that off quickly. So that you can paste links. Or just make sure that it is off. Sometimes it likes to block when you paste links. Okay. Cool, it's off. Yeah, you can paste the link. Go for it. Thank you so much. Right. Okay, seatbelts on, no smoking, armed, emergency lights armed, landing elevation is... Isn't... I haven't set up the Discord. I do have the Discord, I just haven't set up the Nightbot command to show you the Discord like that. But we'll get there, we'll get there. I like flying planes, not doing social media. Okay, what was I doing now? Right, landing elevation, auto. Pack flow as required, that's fine. I like to make this a little bit cooler, and we can warm up a bit. I'm not a huge fan of Discord. I do have a Discord. I need to set it up so that people can actually join it. But that's something I'll do this week. Actually, probably not this week. I've got so much work to do this week. We'll look at that next week if you remind me. Okay, so engine 1 and 2 fire test we'll do next. Let's jump back up here. Test that. It should light up and we should get the audio, which we do. I did a few flights today in the modified CJ4. Amazing weather at Lusaka on takeoff. Okay, cool. Flew to Mthatha and into Cape Town. Yeah, the sim is really cool. It looks amazing. I haven't tried the modded version of the CJ4. It's something I actually want to check out. But I've heard that the mod is really good. So that's something we can check out on a future stream for sure. It's really cool that the community is getting involved, and you know, this is the FlybyWire version, the mod of the A320, and they've taken it. There's still a lot of work to go, but they've taken it up to a very impressive level, and the fact that it's all free, really, really cool. So I know they're doing the same thing for the Citation, so that's really awesome as well. That's something we can check out. Right. So, we've done pack flows, we've tested fire. That's a weird thing to say. Let's go back and do our 35%, which will give us 6.6 tons of fuel. CJ4 mod is the best mod for me so far, even better than the FlybyWire mod. Okay, cool. I tested the FlybyWire today and it's great. Way better than previously, absolutely. So I've been putting off streaming this because just wasn't up to scratch until I probably left it for a good 2 months or so, and then I was reading through all the updates the other day that they've added, and now it is way better. It's actually flyable now. Like before, there were so many things missing, and nothing against them at all. Obviously, they've got loads of work to do to model a full aircraft, but it is really working so much better now, and it's I'm happy to stream it. So there are still things missing. There's still lots to go, but it's at a point now where I'm happy to actually fly it, and we can do most of the stuff properly, which is really cool. But yeah, okay, the CJ4 mod, I've only seen good things about it, so it's definitely something I plan to check out soon. Right, so fuel pumps are all on. Radios are on by default in this aircraft anyway. Let's go and set up our MCDU. So the first thing we'll do is just get our weather. The Read navigation works, VNav works, it's all good. CJ4 is the same, just a bit better. Okay, cool. That sounds awesome. Yeah, I can't remember if I actually clicked send. What a baddie. Obviously I did because it's already here. Okay. It says it's raining in Durban. I don't see any rain on the windscreens. It's all good. Right, we have our weather. Okay, so Durban is still reporting rain, few clouds at 1009, overcast at 38, UNH 1023, we might as well go set that in so long. 023, and our cruise altitude going back is 32, we'll do 34 is what we put in. And we'll turn on constraints, brightness of this up a bit, and we'll take this up to 1023 as well, like so. Yeah, so I know, I've realized now that the airport lights don't work, so I'm gonna go pick up that that add-on with the updated scenery. So yeah, I'm gonna sort that out fairly soon. That printout is cool. First time I said yeah, so that I think it was last week Wednesday or so that this got introduced, and it's the first time we can actually do that in a sim. So you can just print it out, comes out the little printer, and I mean, to most people it seems kind of pointless, but in flight sim I've never seen an add-on that can do that, that can print that out, and yeah, then you can store it there. You can print out multiple ones. And so if you grab another one, puts it on top, and you can kind of page through them. So really, really useful, because now I have my weather there. I can go back and look at other things, program my MCDU, and I have my latest weather reports. That's not the only thing you can print out. Any of the messages that you receive through here, which they're adding more support for. You can even send messages to other people in the sim flying the A320 if you know their username somehow. All of that you can print out on those little pieces of paper, which is awesome, but obviously the weather is the most useful. Okay, this is all programmed in because we imported that flight plan. So we're going to be doing flaps 2 for takeoff, and we'll go to X55. Let's put these guys in, so it should be around 122, 121. Looks good. And all of that looks fine. I do need to go back and do plus the next of 5, and we're doing 340 cruise today, and that's our Pushback Express bringing the fuel truck, but we've already set our fuel, so we'll load that up, and our block fuel is 6.6, so we'll put in 6.5 because the APU is using some of the fuel, so that is all good. Let's bring up the brightness here a bit. Right. Make sure we haven't missed anything. So ADIRs are aligned. Strobe lights on auto. Nav and logo lights are on. Seatbelts, all of that is done. We've actually done all of this. We got up to there. So we've done the MCDU. Altimeter is set. Flight director. Turn that on. FCU speed dashed, heading dashed, altitude set for cruise, anti-skid is on, and switching panel should be all normal, which they are. Transponder, go in and set 324, and we'll obviously turn that on when we enter the runway, so that looks good. Beacon is on. No, it's not on yet. We'll turn that on when we're ready for pushback. Let's go and see. 4 minutes left before our pushback, and we are on our way to Johannesburg. That light is very bright. Yeah, so no runway lights. As we said, we need to go and get that add-on scenery to fix that. This is actually the first time I've flown into Pushback, to be honest. In this sim, obviously. In X-Plane, we fly there all the time. But we flew over it the other day, which is when I mentioned that I noticed that the buildings didn't quite look right. But yeah, I obviously do a lot of flying around South Africa, so we'll be flying in here often, so I'll definitely pick up that scenery. It'll make a big difference. Not just for the landing lights, but for not landing lights, the runway lights, but just to have more accurately modeled airport, which is always good. Okay, about a minute left, and then we are ready to go. Okay, so what we can do is disconnect the GPU, so we're just on the APU now. Oh, does the switch work? Oh, cool, that actually does work. Also used to fly X-Plane a lot, not anymore. I'm still flying X-Plane for the airliners, so I enjoy obviously the 737. Don't have that yet in Flight Sim, so I mean PMDG, they said it's gonna be quite a while still before that comes. I like Pushback Express. They are adding more features, so yeah, it's tough to say. It doesn't do anything major at the moment. Can't remember how much I paid for it, but I find it kind of useful. There's no real way to do Pushback easily. I tried some of the free ones and they didn't work so nicely for me, but they have just said that you said you fly X-Plane, so you'll know better Pushback. They're introducing a feature that kind of does the same thing as better Pushback, where you can plot your so just like better Pushback, you can kind of plot your pushback route and then, you know, trigger it and it'll push you back to that position without worrying. At the moment, it's still at the point where you have to control it yourself with the rudder. So it's kind of nice, and you can do it with any aircraft. So it's nice to, with like the GA aircraft, to hook it up and then you can kind of tow it around and move it. But it'll be way better when they introduce that feature like better Pushback, where you can set the route. I don't know if you ever used any of the FS2 crew products for like the PMDG aircraft in Prepared or FSX or anything like that, but it has a similar feature where you have your pre-flight events, so you can start that up and it runs for half an hour while you're setting up the aircraft, and it's nothing too fancy. You just get animations like this. So all of these vehicles are part of it, so the baggage cart will actually come up and they'll load baggage in. So to me, those have never really bothered me too much. You know, the outside kind of crew and things aren't really essential to the flight, but if you like that, it does that as well. But the biggest thing, yeah, so I used FS2 crew in FSX a lot as well. So you remember the whole thing where you trigger the pre-flight events and it starts setting up. It's got the same kind of thing, except it doesn't really do anything for the aircraft. Yeah, it kind of like GSX, it's all just animations on the outside. So yeah, I picked it up, I use it, but I'm really waiting for when they introduce that pushback feature. That's gonna, I think that'll make it worth the money for me. Obviously better Pushback was free, which was amazing, but yeah, I kind of like it. I'm not disappointed that I bought it, let's put it that way. I was a little bit in the beginning, it didn't have many features, but they've been adding things slowly but surely, so yeah, I'm fairly happy with it. Okay, I think we are ready to go. So it also has voice control, just like it is an FS2 crew product, and normally on stream when I try to do this it doesn't work, so let's see if we can get it to work. Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
So that makes it kind of cool. I like PACX. Saw some videos of it, and it reminds me of the old FS Passengers. Yeah, so I used FS Passengers as well, and I do like PACX. The one thing I really wanted from PACX, let me actually just do the pushback now, and then we can chat about that. Brakes released.
Pushing back.
So the one thing I was really keen with PACX was they have like emergencies and stuff like that, but I've never really had that happen. So it would be kind of cool, you know, as you're going along in your flight and then there's some sort of emergency. There's supposed to be things like people get sick and you have to divert and stuff like that. I was really interested in that, but I've never really had that happen. But otherwise it is kind of nice just to have the some sort of sense of having passengers along with you, but very similar to FS Passengers. I always hated the FS Passengers interface. It looked really old and boring. So the PACX one is a little bit more interesting. Thanks, Jason. Right, so we're starting up engine 2. Emergencies is not my thing. When I fly, I don't want surprises. I mostly fly during the day, while working, so I don't want interruptions. 100% agree with you. If I remember correctly, you can turn them off. So I didn't actually start PACX on this flight, because we ended it after the previous one, but I have it open here. I haven't actually looked through this for a while. Oh geez, see now I forget, because I'm so used to explain that I'm supposed to be steering. Oops. So this is kind of cool with Pushback Express, is you turn the tug with your rudders, and with your joystick you can control the direction. So now, because I pushed too far, we can actually just tow ourselves forward. So it is kind of nice. It gives you more features than the kind of standard Pushback. Okay, while that's happening, let's go and start engine 1. Cool. Yeah, if I remember correctly, I'll have a look through the settings now and see if I can find it, but I think you could turn the whole emergency thing off. Stop pushback.
Pushback complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Brake set.
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see you in the left side with a pin.
You are clear to disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks, have a good flight. See you later.
Right, let's set this back to normal. Did I even turn on the beacon light? I did not. What a baddie. Okay, so remember FS Passengers, I was flying the level D767 into Lagos. I thought it was a war area. Yeah, I remember that. It had simulated war areas and shot out one of the engines. Yeah. Yeah, I remember FS Passengers had that. That's really cool. Okay, nose lights, taxi. Runway turn off lights can come on. We can turn off the APU. So Jason, emergencies sound sick. That's so intense. So I must have a look. I just never ever had any emergencies in FS packs, but it's. I remember there being a setting where you can turn it on and off. So I must have a look. Once we take off and we cruising along, I'll look into that and see what we can find. Okay, flaps 2, auto brake max. That will turn on once we go. Let's double check with the checklist. Thought we were rolling backwards there for a minute for some reason, but we are not. Okay, so engines are started, flaps set for takeoff, pitch trim. I can't remember if this actually calculates for us. I don't think it does. We need to use the EFB, which is coming soon. think it's in the experimental version. I'm on the development version, so that'll come to us soon, and we'll use the EFB to calculate that kind of thing. Okay, APU master is off. Slides. Let's check that all the doors are armed, which they are. Then noise wheel line set to taxi, parking brake we can release. We will run this chrono over here. Give ourselves a little bit of power. And let's taxi out to runway 24. So yeah, I've always wanted emergencies to happen on the stream because it makes it kind of interesting. I did have in X-Plane in the toeless A319, on the first ever stream that I did, we had a double engine failure. Which hardly ever happens, and we had a double engine failure and a hydraulic system, which meant we couldn't put the gear down. So we actually landed here, my very first stream sometime last year. We landed here at Durban King Sharker with no engines and no landing gear. It was pretty intense. Or did we have, no, I think it wasn't, sorry, it wasn't double engine, single engine failure and landing gear. So that was interesting. Now that's part of the toeless system. Greetings, Slom. I don't understand whatever language you are commenting in. I'm sorry. I only speak the English. Is that German? Wait. If it's German, I can try work it out. Speak a bit of Afrikaans. The coolest... Yo, okay, that gets too hectic for me. What's the... What's the coolest thing about your room? That doesn't sound right, Jason. What's the coolest thing about your room? Always be happy about when you come home. My bed. I like to sleep. Google Translate. I'll vote for... Otherwise, I guess I should probably say my computer because it's in my room. Yeah, now I'm trying to speak German and I'm not doing checks. So let's do that. Let's also arm the spoilers. And we'll do the takeoff config. What do we have there? Predictive wind shear. That we can sort out. I'll also put that on. Go there. Flying the CRJ 200 out of Hoedspruit, an X-Plane 10, and forgot to replace the fuel caps and had to return to the airport without engines. It's pretty cool. It caught me off guard. Yeah, you see, that kind of thing makes it interesting. So, like, I like the toeless failure system. What did we have the other day? Oh, on the Zebo, I forgot to turn the PACX on. So we had a pressurization issue when we climbed through like 20,000 feet. So we had to do an emergency descent and repressurize the cabin and then climb up to cruise again. Jason panicked a bit as usual. Yeah, so that kind of stuff makes it interesting. So I'm gonna look into, once we're in the cruise, I'll have a look at the first passengers failure system. Well, not failures, emergencies. The thing I like about not FS passengers, PACX, is PACX works on all the sims. So it works on Flight Sim, it works on FSX, it works on X-Plane as well. I never owned P3D. It was just, I felt it was crazy expensive to get like, just to get the sim, and then I would have had to rebuy all the PMDG stuff, so I didn't. I went from FSX to X-Plane. Actually still use FSX every now and then to fly like the PMDG 777 and the 747. I really enjoy those. I cannot wait for the PMDG stuff to come to the sim. It's going to be a long time before that happens, but it'll be really cool. Also, the Aerosoft CRJ coming to the sim really soon is going to be awesome. But yeah, that's the reason why I chose PACX, because like FS Passengers doesn't work with X-Plane. And I don't know if it works with this. Maybe, because it's a sim connecting. But PACX works across all of them, which just makes it so much easier. You only have to buy one. Right, let's double check. So, auto brakes max. We should have terrain on this side, and we have weather on my side, which is good. Engine mode is normal. Runway turn off lights on. And taxi lights set to taxi. So we'll switch up all of the lights as we enter the runway, and then we are good to go. It didn't almost kill you, Jason. The aircraft has a warning for that exact reason. So we got our warning at 20,000 feet, did our emergency descent, and all was fine. X-Plane had a rip-off version called X Passengers, but was never as good. Okay, I see, I didn't even know that. I really enjoyed FS Passengers back in the day. So what I probably use the most is I fly for British Airways Virtual. So I do most of the airline stuff. This, I'm not flying for any VA. I'm just doing a kind of test to see how the FlybyWire A320 is now before, but it's looking good. I'm going to start flying this on BA routes, but then I also do a lot of FS economy, so some of the VFR stuff, taking passengers into the smaller airports around South Africa. I really enjoy doing that, and we stream that quite often. I've been flown for them for a while, yeah. Yeah, I do a lot of flying for BA Virtual, so I had an account there for like a good 2 years, and then it must have been 3 years or so. I just got too busy and went inactive, and the account got terminated. But I reactivated about 2 years ago, and just been flying very regularly with BA, which I really enjoy. At the moment, I'm trying to get up to senior captain. I need 200 hours or so to get up to senior captain so I can fly the Concorde, because I really enjoy flying the Concorde in X-Plane. But I need to be a senior captain first before I can fly that for British Airways, so that's the goal at the moment. Flying the CJ4 with on-air. See, I know on-air is really good, but I haven't picked it up because I just invested so much time in FS economy. So a bunch of my friends are flying on air company, and they're always trying to convince me to switch from FS economy, but I've just invested so much. I've been doing FS economy for like 9 years, and I've owned a whole bunch of aircraft. I own a whole bunch of bases around South Africa that have just spent so much time and money, virtual money, setting up my bases and everything in FS economy. So it's tough to make the switch. I know on-air company is better, 100% am aware. It's tough to ditch it when I've put 9 years into FS economy. Okay, we are ready for takeoff. So we will go, parking brakes released, engines up to 50%. Okay, stick forward below 80 knots. Let's go up to our flex. Okay, so there's flex. We have SRS, runway, and flex, so we are good. Okay, oh, we're at rotate already. Should have released the down pressure on the stick earlier. So, positive rate, you're up. The Neo does climb like a rocket. Yeah, let's engage the autopilot. Yes, you switched to on-air from FSE about a year ago. I even played on-air in the Stratus world where I owned a ton of airports and FSO and FBOs and AI employees. It started over a few years ago in the Thunder world that is similar to FSE. Okay. Oops. Reading comments and not retracting flaps. Right, flaps are up. Let's disarm the spoilers. Probably shouldn't be flying with the dome lights on either, now that I think about it. But I'm going to bring these lights up a little bit. Okay, this is the part that... Okay, so it has picked up the climb detent in the throttles a lot easier this time. That tends to give me a bit of issues sometimes, but that looks good. Right, we can turn off these lights. They're off anyway because the landing gear is up. We'll turn them off for good measure. We can turn off the wing lights. We don't really need that anymore. It's just to make us extra visible. Some look so good and the weather is unbeatable. Absolutely. The weather is just amazing. It looks so good. I had a viewer on my stream the other night. Last night, we were flying helicopters. We were flying the Bell 407 in X-Plane. And she normally watches my flights and stuff. She kept saying the clouds in X-Plane just look so weird. And it's like, you know, the clouds in X-Plane actually looked good when that, you know, first came out. And now, this sim has just brought in a whole new generation of people to flight sim. And so, going back to the old stuff for them, I mean, I never thought X-Plane's clouds looked bad, but now when you compare it to this, it's a massive difference. The weather in this sim is just incredible. Okay, now that we are climbing nicely, we have another weather update. So let's go and double check that. Oh, that was just the second one we did earlier because I pushed it twice. Okay, we'll update weather for our Tambo as we get a bit closer. Right, let me look through the settings here of PACX. Okay, so there is so there's an incident frequency setting, so you can set that to never. So if you do pick up PACX, you can turn off incidents, so then you won't have any issues. Mine is currently set to realistic, which is why it doesn't happen very often, but you also have a setting called common. So I think we'll do a stream sometime where we turn that up to common and see what incidents we can have along the way during our flight. So yeah, if you don't want the incidents, you can just turn that off. You can set that to never, and then you won't have any of those emergencies. That's pretty cool. Knew there was some sort of setting like that. Right, there we go now above the clouds. Even at night, this looks amazing. It's a thick, fluffy cloud layer. Looks incredible. Right, I actually want to go and see if we have updated weather in Johannesburg. So we'll send another weather request. We'll give that a few seconds to update. Oh, didn't give it enough seconds. Right, let's go to our messages. There's our new meta. So, Joburg. Clouds broken at 500 feet. Pretty low. Cheers, Darren. Check you tomorrow. Please make sure whatever you've done to my computer that it's still working when I get there. Otherwise, I will do bad things to the Apollo. Right. Everything is broken. Standard. Oh, cool. Thanks for tuning in. Check you tomorrow. Right. One thing I can do now, because we are cruising along. Oh, we're still climbing. We can put the tunes back on. So Armand, I don't know if you were here in the beginning of the stream. Well, not right in the beginning, but also just before we left from Durban. Because maybe I should show you this guy. I don't know if you know about this, but it's a little app that I only just recently found out about, and it's changed my life. So this is a free app called Little Nav Map. So I didn't know about this. I don't know if you know about this, but this is really cool. So it's free. For the life of me, can't remember where I found it, but if you Google Little Nav Map, you'll find it. And what's really cool is it connects to all of the sims, so I don't actually have it connected at the moment. But we can do that. So if we go Tools, Connection, Flight Sim, and we connect it, we will see our aircraft shows up. And there we are, missioning along. And you can use this to plan your route. Okay, so you do know about it. And you prefer Sim Toolkit Pro. Okay, Sim Toolkit Pro, yeah. Fair enough. So, this is just something cool that I found recently that I think is really useful. I like that it gives you the airspaces. So I really enjoy this for planning VFR flights. So you can check airspaces and things like this. So you have these like danger areas. So there's a flight training area. You can plan your flights like that. There are so many of these planners and they're all good, but I decided to stick. So I've never actually had Sim Toolkit Pro. You have to pay for that, right? If I remember correctly. Because like you say, there's so many. I've always used things like, obviously you use SimBrief for planning flights. Okay, so it is free. Cool, well I must check that one up. I'll check that one out as well. Because yeah, like you said, there's so many. SkyVector I use a lot. Although, it's only really detailed in the US. So yeah, Little Nav Map is something that I've been playing around for the last couple of days and really enjoying it. Okay, for some reason I always thought that Sim Toolkit Pro was payware, so I'll check that out as well. I'm sure you know what it's like. We sink too much money into Flight Sim, and every time renew comes on, they're like, oh yeah, plus, I've already spent so much money on planes and scenery and all sorts of stuff. It integrates with SimBrief. You can have your own Navigraph and SkyVector and Little Nav Map inside of it in bars, so you only open. Okay, that sounds really cool. That sounds like something I'll use. Yeah, that is the main problem. Okay, the classic Microsoft Flight Simulator icing. Let's just put all of that on so we don't fall out of the sky. But yep, too much money, and you always like, I don't know. I'm sure most people are like this. You see a cool add-on, like let's say for example the Aerosoft CRJ is coming out. You're like, I'll pick up the CRJ and then I'll just get really good at flying that one. Spend all my time doing all the procedures, and then you do that for a little bit, and then you see something else, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna just pick up that add-on and then I'll get really good at flying that one, and that's all I'm gonna fly. And that just goes on forever until you own all of them. Download and have a look. Once you start using it, you'll not use anything else. That sounds really cool. I'm definitely gonna check that out. I'll go and download that straight after the stream. So I've got some homework to do after the stream. I've got to go and check out Sim Toolkit Pro and get the scenery for Durban. It's my homework. Right, how are we doing in terms of altitude? So coming up to 30,000 feet. Right, so we're going to be cruising at 34. So if we take 34 times 3, it's 102. And we add 10 onto that, we get 112. So we need to start our descent 112 miles, 112 track miles from Joburg. I've been flying flight sims since 1992. Okay, so you started earlier than I did. Literally spent thousands of dollars over the years. Yep, on FSX and X-Plane and a bit of P3D, and it's not going to stop with flights in 2020, 100%. So I started on which one was the first one? It wasn't, so it was probably Flight Sim 2004. So FS9, I think that was. And then had that for a bit. I never actually owned that. One of my friends lent that to me back in the day when you still shared CDs with your mates, and they let me borrow that, and I messed around with that for a bit. Yeah, that's the one, A Century of Flight, and messed around with that for a little bit, and then thought, this is really boring. Yeah, what, this isn't a game. What do I do with this? And then forgot about it, and then I don't know, one day I remember it super clearly. I just really wanted to fly 747, and I remember FSX had the picture of the 747 on the cover, and so I went out to the shops and I bought FSX, came home, and then I just, you know, as everyone does, trying to do loops and barrel rolls in a 747, and then I still remember looking at whatever the Microsoft Flight Sim shop was called back then and going, who the hell would pay money for extra planes in this? And then, how did I get into doing it seriously? I somehow came across, people don't understand this, one friend of mine in our gaming group calls it Space Flight Simulator. Yeah, don't worry, there's a whole bunch of my mates from my gaming group in the chat most of the time as well. Don't worry, they give me flack about it. But yeah, I somehow found South African Airways Virtual, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, and I got into that, and that's how I started off. I didn't even know about like autopilot and stuff. I started flying for SA Virtual, just, you know, trying to hand fly 737s and Airbuses and stuff, and then I found the payware add-ons. My first payware add-on that I bought was the PMDG Jetstream 41. I still absolutely love that. I actually flew it a couple of days ago. I love that aircraft because I grew up in Pietermaritzburg, and those are the only planes, the only kind of airliners, I don't know if you can call that an airliner, prop liner. Those are the only commercial flights into Pietermaritzburg were the Jetstreams. Those are the only planes I ever got to see before I moved up to Joburg. And so I flew that loads. And that was how I actually got into flight sim, was thousands and thousands of hours in FSX, and then moved on to X-Plane. Yeah, the Jetstream 41, that's what got me into simming. That's when I started learning all the procedures and stuff, trying to fly properly. So yeah, was a really important add-on for me in Flight Sim. And then yeah, got frustrated with all of the out of memory errors that came in Flight Sim, and frustrated with having to reinstall it every 2 or 3 months to get it to work. And then moved on to X-Plane to get around that. And then obviously when the new Flight Sim came out, you just had to. Always loved planes and Flight Sims. I play mostly sim games, 100%. I've always been into planes. I always wanted to be a pilot, but I didn't have the opportunity to do that. So yeah, simming was the next best thing. Okay, cool. I'm also a Factorio fan. I've played quite a bit of Factorio. So yeah, it seems like we get into the same kind of games. Yeah, I also played the odd shooter, but I like the more realistic ones. So like I played quite a bit of Armor. Okay, so you ended up in IT. Cool. I do audio and video production. Have you played Dyson's Sphere program? I have not. Yeah, I like Factorio. The shooters, I played quite a bit of Armor. But yeah, 90% of it is gonna be Flight Sims. Do a bit of Euro Truck Simulator as well. It's cool. I can't you know, drive a truck as much as I can, or for as long as I can fly a plane. I've almost 1,000 hours in Armor, and I play EFT every now and again. I think I've got about 800 hours in Armor, and same. So very kind of similar taste when it comes to gaming. I never liked the shooters like Call of Duty and stuff like that. Didn't like the arcade stuff. Enjoyed, yeah, but I mean, simulator people, you like things to be realistic. Right, let me check. So I said 112 miles we start our descent, so we're at 160. It's wanting us to plug in our arrival information, so let's actually go and update weather. Let's see what we have. I play Euro Truck 2 and American Truck Sim, but yes, that only 100%. I've never tried Truck Sim. Never tried Truck Sim. I've never tried American Truck Sim, because I've had Euro Truck for so many years, and you know, barely explored half of what's in there, because exactly like you said, I can do a little bit, maybe like 1 or 2 medium range jobs, and then I'm over it for a bit. What am I trying to do now? Oh yeah, I was trying to get weather. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Flight level 340 is a bit high for this route. Yeah, you are not wrong. So normally flight level 28. That was about, so it wasn't last year obviously because of all the lockdowns. It must have been end of the previous year. We flew South African Airways on the A320, and he said we were cruising at 35,000 feet on the way down to Durban, which I thought was really high. But hey, that's what they said. So question, do you fly on VATSIM at all, or on IVAO or something like that? Okay, let's go and yeah, I was also super surprised when he said we were doing 35,000 feet down to Durban. So, which is why I normally stick around 31, 33-ish, and then 32 going back. Right, so we do have updated weather, so let's print that out. This is still really cool. No, like to normal people, this seems super chilled. Yeah, and especially in the Neo, like in the Neo, it's times like a rocket. Okay, so weather for Joburg. Let's go and have a look and plug this in. So QNH 023. Temperature is 17. And winds 070 at 8. Right. And we'll do 8,000. I'm not actually doing this properly. Normally I'd get the charts out and have a look at the charts, but I just wanted to have a chilled stream checking out how this is doing. I do VATSIM, used to do IVAO a few years ago, but prefers that VATSIM. Also fly mostly in Europe. Okay, cool. I've always wanted to get into VATSIM, and I've done it a few times. I know it sounds kind of weird because I'm streaming, but most of the time when I get to the sim, I don't feel like talking. I just want to sit down and fly. So every now and then I'll do VATSIM for a couple of months, and then I'll leave it for like a year or two, and then come back. I can't believe it's 17. Still feels like high 20s. I'm in Pretoria. Yeah, I'm in Pretoria at the moment as well. I'm back to Joburg tomorrow again for work. But in my room, it is currently... My room's currently 26, but obviously outside, and with my computer stretching its legs to run Microsoft Flight Sim. A little bit warmer inside. But yeah, so it's currently 26 in my room. Joburg says 17. Okay, what's our distance? 127, so almost time to start. I'm in Moroleta Park. Okay, cool. I'm in Krunklof. But yeah, like I said, back tomorrow to Joburg to work. But yeah, appreciate you tuning in. It's really cool. Like Jason said, I'm super happy. I like it when people come in and chat about flight sim and ask me questions. Callum, what monitor are you using to run the sim? So I have a Dell something. I cannot for the life of me remember the model number, but it's a 1440p monitor. So I've got a 1440p main Dell monitor, and then I also have another 1080p Dell monitor as my secondary screen. So on there I've got the chat and the stream and OBS and everything, so I can monitor that. But my sim is on my 1440p Dell monitor. It's a 1440p 144 Hz monitor because I used to play Dota and I really wanted 144 Hz, but I don't do that anymore. You travel every day? No. So I come back to Pretoria every now and then. My parents live in Pretoria, so I've got my streaming set up here, so I come back to visit them. But most of the time I'm in Joburg for work, so I stay. Actually, Darren was on the stream earlier. I stay with him at the studio where I work during the week. So no, luckily I don't have to travel every day. I did do that for a while, and it was terrible. Okay, let's go down to 8,000 feet. We will start our descent. I used to work in Sandton for more than 10 years, but now working from home most of the time. We'll also be going to our offices in Midrand tomorrow. Okay, that's cool. The working from home thing, I won't lie. COVID-19, all of that was really rough, but the changes that it brought about, especially to my company with regards to working from home, really, really cool. Like, we've been trying to convince people at the company for so long that working from home is an option, and I think a lot of companies have been like that. People have been reluctant to change, but working from home has been so cool. Yeah, I also did 2 years of traveling to Joburg every morning and then back again to Pretoria, and it sucked. Yep, same in our company. I've been doing work from home since 2010, so lockdown wasn't a biggie for me. Yeah, it was fairly chilled for me from that sense as well, because we always knew we could work from home. It was just the company always wanted us to come in. So, yeah, in that sense, it was a lot of extra work because I was responsible for a whole bunch of things. Which meant I had to kind of manage other people and make sure they were doing what they were supposed to. And as you can imagine, there were loads of people who just took advantage of being at home without direct supervision and did nothing, which meant more work for the rest of us who actually were doing stuff. But anyway, I used to leave at 5:20 to miss traffic and work till 2:30 and then 3:30 and then back home to miss traffic. Yeah, I know. When I started studying in Joburg, I didn't have a car, so I bought my car after I started working. So I used to go on the Gautrain. So every morning, I'd get a lift to the Pretoria station, or I'd walk down to the bus. And I used to take the first train at 5 o'clock. I'd be on there all the way up to first Rosebank station, and then they opened Park station. I go all the way to Park station and take another bus into Joburg. So I did that for a while as well. And then later on, when I started working, got myself a car and started driving. It was a little bit better than, in some cases it was worse than taking the train. At least once I got to the train, I didn't have to do anything. I just put my music on, spend 40 minutes or however long it takes, just listening to music. When you're driving, you have to watch out for all the idiots on the road. So yeah, actually during the week I work at the SABC, so I'm in Auckland Park. So yeah, that is rough. We have clients in the city and I hate going there, but you have to go there at least once or twice a year. Okay, well, I go there every day. Right, that's not what I wanted to turn down. I just want to turn down the brightness of the weather radar. Okay, so we are making our approach into Joburg. I don't envy you. Yeah, no, it's not too bad. I live about, if there's no traffic, it takes me 15-20 minutes to drive to work, so that's pretty chilled. But as you can imagine, when there's load shedding, it's the worst, and all the robots are out. Then it's an hour sometimes into work. But hey, gotta do what we gotta do. I'd love to be a full-time streamer, then I can do this from home and I don't have to drive into the city every day. Right, I think we are all set. Let's just go through the checklist and make sure we haven't missed anything. Obviously flaps and that we'll do as we get closer, but I want to check, why did it not listen to our 250 knot restriction the first time? It should actually just do that automatically. I think we might have to do that ourselves. There's probably somewhere in the MCDU that you can set it, but none of the other Airbuses I've ever flown in other sims, they've always done it automatically. So it is possible that I'm missing something. Right, let's double check. So we have, not this page. Fairly bumpy. Should have actually turned the seatbelt signs on. Oh, they were on. Never mind. Okay, so MCDU is set. We are in managed descent. We can turn this guy on so we can see our ILS once we get closer. Constraints is on. Okay, speed brakes we will use as required, but we're fine for the moment. And when we get a bit closer, we will sort out things like flaps and gear. Okay, so our descent, we were a little bit early because it wants us at 15,000 feet. Okay, so we were quite a bit early. So coming up to the Standerton VR. And then, so our 15,000 foot restriction is actually down here, so yeah, fairly early on the descent. Not as early as the aircraft calculates. It wants us to descend normally about 180 miles from the destination, which is a bit much. Yeah, otherwise this all looks good. We are in the clouds. I really like the volumetric lighting. That's something that's really cool. Obviously we'll see as we turn on the landing lights how those light up the area around us as well. But the landing lights will come on, or we'll switch them on when we reach 10,000 feet. So there's Standerton. We're going to make that slight left turn now. And let's double check. Do we have ILS set? No, we do not. So this arrival hasn't worked out. Well, it hasn't actually kept it. Let's put that ILS in. And I hope this doesn't freak out. So we do have the runway in there now. That looks good. And we do have 109.10. So we should be alright on the ILS now. Adam says, do you think a 1080p monitor running at 240 Hz will manage the sim? 240 Hz is a lot. Like, for sims and that, you don't need super high refresh rate. Because remember, in a sim, if you're getting, let's just go flaps 1 as we slow down to 210. In a sim, you're going to be getting frame rates around 30. Maybe if you're really pushing your hardware and on 1080p getting frame rates 60 maybe. So 240 Hz is very overkill for simming. I don't know, are there other games that you're playing that you need 240 Hz? Because if you're mostly into flight sim, I wouldn't really bother with a 240 Hz monitor. Jason says you only need 60 plus for competitive games. So I disagree. When I played competitive Dota, 144 Hz monitor changed my whole life. And that's why I have this 144 Hz monitor, was because of Dota. But yeah, for sims it's really unnecessary. So if you're mostly into simming, I'd get a lower refresh rate monitor. You can save some money. But it should manage it. Cool. Yeah, save yourself a bit of cash. Get a lower refresh rate monitor. Even 144 Hz is just unnecessary for this. 60 is perfectly fine. I mean, you only need more than 60. Oh, Soz. What is your machine specs? So, hey, we're actually getting some rain. My machine is getting a little bit on the old side. I'm gonna have to upgrade fairly soon. So I have a, what is my CPU? 4790K i7, and I have a 1080. So not amazing by any measure. It was 5 years ago or so, maybe longer. When I built it, it was really cool. Now it's starting to get a little bit old. Yeah, I have to look at upgrading soon. Hey, but it does the job. It's running all right. Yeah, if I had to do anything differently now, I'll recycle the 1080 for you. Well, Darren says he's buying a... He wants to buy a 3080, which means... Yeah, I like the 4790K. It's really cool. What are you running at the moment? So Jason, Darren says he wants to buy a 3080, which means there's two 1080 Ti's coming my way. I very often... My other PC in Joburg has his old 980 graphics card in it. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Okay, we're coming up to our 10,000 feet. I'm going to turn these lights on. Have the rain on the windscreen, windshield. Looks like we're picking up. Is that icing? Or is that just? Oh no, it's just the water. I have an 8700K with a 1080 Ti, 32 gigs of RAM. Oof, that's nice. Running flight sim on a 1TB NVMe drive. Oh, that's really cool. Also got 32 gigs of RAM, and I don't have a 1TB. I've got a 512 4K monitor, so it looks awesome. Ah, that sounds really cool. That sounds awesome. Okay, let's turn on the landing lights. Already down to 180 knots. Jason, what's your PC? Yeah, I don't know why we're slowing down so much. It's a bit unnecessary. Yeah, I need to upgrade my PC sometime, but I chose the 3 most expensive hobbies in music, gaming, and photography. So if I haven't spent that much money on my gaming PC because I've been spending money on camera gear. What sort of FPS do you get? I get mid-20s to high 30s. Cape Town is the worst on frame. I get low 20s there. Maybe your settings are too high. So I'm getting about the same. In the GA aircraft, I'm not on ultra settings. I'm on, I think it's called high end. And I'm getting, in all the GA aircraft, 40 plus. And then in the airliners, mid 20s. Yeah, exactly. So I can't have all of that. I need to earn all the money. Yeah, everything's so expensive. Camera gear is the worst. It's like I was looking at lenses the other day. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, this is the kind of lens that I need for the jobs that I'm doing. Oh yeah, no, it's 250,000 rand. Okay, cool, never mind. It's we won't be getting that. And the other thing is, everything is so expensive. I mean, you spend 250,000 Rand on a camera lens. I'd be too scared to take it anyway. We'll be using my phone's camera, there you go. Oh, I mean, phones are so expensive these days as well. Okay, but not quite 250,000. But yeah, what's nice is, because I do audio and video editing, kind of all of that stuff, all my music gear has been used when we work on music projects. My computer, it's a beast for gaming, but I can use it to edit and do graphics and stuff as well. And obviously my camera gear, it's not just for messing around, we use it for work. So it's, if those were all just hobbies for fun, sure, I think I'd feel a lot worse. But at least a lot of it gets used for fun and for work, which is cool. Right, not far to go now. Localizer is alive, Blind Slope is alive as well. So, where will you be off to next stream? That is a great question. So, like I've said a few times on the stream, because I kind of have to just stream around my work schedule. I don't have a set schedule for streaming, I just kind of do it when I'm free. This week, in terms of work, is looking crazy. I've got loads of editing to do in the evening, so the next stream will probably only be on the weekend, and I have no idea where I'll be flying yet. I'm gonna, now that Flight Sims is working a bit better and the airliners are we can actually operate them, I'll probably do more Flight Sim stuff, and most likely probably some BA stuff out of Gatwick or Heathrow in the A320. Oh no, I say Heathrow. I have to check if I'm getting decent frames there. I've never taken that much of a hit in FPS here in Cape Town, but it certainly does take a few frames off, but it's been alright for me, so I'll have to see how Heathrow handles. But yeah, possibly. I've always enjoyed the VFR stuff in doing FS economy, so that's a distinct possibility. But yeah, most likely some British Airways stuff, which means we'll be in the A320. And speaking of frames, it's dropped a little bit, the weather in Joburg. We are a little bit high when it comes to the glide slope, so I'm actually going to take us down to 7,000, which is a little bit naughty. Oh, we can't, because this wants us to be at 8,000. That's interesting. That puts us under the glide slope. Okay, let's go and arm the approach. Captured the localizer and the glide slope. Let's put this back to 8,000. Does BAV support Microsoft yet? I haven't even checked. Yes, they do. With FSU Pick 7. Yeah. FSU PC 7. Yeah, it does. So they did actually quite a while ago, but I just didn't. The airliners just weren't detailed enough. So I didn't do it right off the bat, but now they do, yeah. So I've done a couple of flights in the A320. So yeah, I still really like flying the A319, the toeless in X-Plane. Alright, let's go gear down, and that's going to turn the parking brake on for some reason. Okay, let's turn on lights. Shouldn't be there, it should be on taxi. Music, because we need to concentrate. Cool, might do some BAV flights again in Flight Sim. Yeah. Sounds good. Never tried the toeless. Only jar. Yeah, I've got the jar A330, and I don't fly it very much because it's not great. But the toeless is fantastic. I like the 319. I never bought the flight factor, so I went for the toeless instead of the flight factor. And yeah, love it. I'm not a huge fan of the little interface for setting for the settings and stuff. Just like a weird color, but I mean, you only look at that a little bit in the beginning of each flight. Other than that, love the toeless. This is going to be interesting. Hope Joburg has runway lights. Okay, it does. We should be alright. Two best aircraft for me in X-Plane is still the TBM. And, oh yeah, the F4 Labs King Air 350. I don't have the 350. I bought the F4 Labs 172. Do that a lot. Okay. Yeah, so the ILS brought us, or the autopilot brought us in under the glide slope. Quite significantly, which is a bit strange. I still find the rudder very twitchy in Flight Sim. I think I say that every time we fly in this sim, but it is the case. And this aircraft floats so much. I must just be bad. Okay, so reverse thrust is going to be very important because we have a wet runway. Drive over that little taxiway marker. Alright, welcome to Johannesburg International. Let's sort out our lights. So landing lights can come off, flaps can come up. Flaps, not flaps. Spoilers. It's on. Lights on a bit. And then, yeah, I'm not 100% happy with my landings in Flight Sim. I find the rudder very twitchy, and especially in the A320, I think I'm just used to flying the A319. The A320 feels like it just floats so much, so you'll see that I flare, and I float for quite a while over the runway. Now, I don't know if that's something that they to fix in the fly-by-wire. It's most likely just my bad technique being used to flying X-Plane and the 319, but that is something that I do need to work on. So I mean, it's not a shocking landing, but yeah, the rudder is so sensitive, and it like, I've played around a lot with the curves, and even with the curves, I mean, in X-Plane I give it a little bit of a curve and it's fine, I can control it nice and smooth. But this, it feels like you use the rudder and it does hardly anything, and then all of a sudden you jerk to the one side. So it's always, and I don't know if you were, but I was part of the alpha testing and the beta testing for Flight Sim, and it's been like that right from the beginning. The first thing I said when I flew in FS 2020 was that the rudder was super sensitive. Yeah, exactly. 100% agree. The curves on the rudder, it doesn't seem to make any difference really. It's still just super twitchy. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think I'd get in, to be honest, but actually I think I was part of the like second group of alpha testing. So I did quite a lot of that, which was cool. But yeah, that's the one thing is the rudder was an issue all the way back then. And I was happy when they put the curves in, but then it didn't really seem to help my issue, which you seem to agree with. So yeah, rudder has always been twitchy for me. Yeah, fair enough. I did see a while ago that the guys from X-Plane said they had some big things coming for X-Plane. So I'm guessing it's going to be X-Plane 12, or if they call it something else, maybe, I don't know, the next X-Plane. But they said they had some things in the works to rival the new flight sim. So that'll be interesting to see when that does come around. So obviously, I never expected X-Plane to just, you know, kind of give up and let flight sim take over the monopoly. But we'll see what they have coming. Honestly, if it is like an X-Plane 12 and it's an all-new sim, I don't know if I can buy another one. So yeah, if it's updates to X-Plane 11, I'll be super stoked. But if it's big changes, like we've seen coming to the new flight sim, I would expect it to be a new sim, and then I don't know if I can get another sim. Unless maybe somehow they come along and say the add-ons from X-Plane 11 work in the new one, then maybe I might, because I can't buy another sim and then buy all the add-ons and the scenery and stuff again. Unless they can create a better environment than the new flight sim, I won't be going back. Yeah, I'll probably still do some X-Plane, 100% agree, but majority will be, yeah, exactly. The weather and the scenery, the fact that you can do VFR pretty much anywhere, it really is a game changer. And once we get, you know, third-party airliners like the Aerosoft stuff, and especially PMDG, when that comes to flight sim, then I'm going to be moving across. Obviously, it's going to be a while until we get that payware quality stuff. But, yeah, in that case, unfortunately, for X-Plane, Microsoft obviously got there first. And so that's a bit of an issue for them. Right, so there's no plane here. Yeah, like I said earlier, we would normally turn off the lights, but there are no lights on the ramp here. So without the lights we can't see. So I leave them on. Also, I found it interesting that they chose Cape Town to be the detailed airport in South Africa instead of Joburg. I guess the Cape Town areas are more kind of scenic area with Table Mountain and the ocean, the mountains on the other side and all of that. So maybe that's why. Yeah, you can't beat the clouds in the environment, 100%. I fully agree with you. Okay, we also should have turned this off while we were taxiing. And this on the side, right. So that's done. These lights can now come off. And we'll turn off the seatbelt signs. Oh, we should have actually shut down the engines before we did the seatbelt signs. Oh no, I did. Never mind. Did do that. Seatbelt signs off. Turn off the rest of our lights. And that brings us safely to Johannesburg International. And to the end of this stream. Oh, really enjoyed that one. I'm super stoked with the fact that FlybyWire A320 is looking so good. It's now flyable. We can actually turn off the APU. Don't need that anymore. It works nicely. I'm happy with that, so I'm definitely going to be flying that more. Right, but I think that's it for now. Alright, so thank you guys once again. Really appreciate everyone who tuned in. If you still haven't, be sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell so you can get notifications when I go live again or upload videos or all of the things. Online, thank you so much. Nice meeting you. Remember to join the Flight Sims page. Yeah, we'll do so. I'll catch you again in the next stream. Thank you so much. Callum, if you're still there, thank you for tuning in as always. Jason, I think you're still around. Always appreciated. And I will see you guys again soon in the next one. So, bye-bye for now.